A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all-old-time radio.
And now, Backstage Wife, the story of Mary Noble and what it means to be the wife of a famous star. Because he believes her to be a capable actress, Larry is trying to get the beautiful Claudia Vincent into his present play, which is a big hit on Broadway. Since his leading lady is anxious to leave the cast to be married, Larry has tried to persuade his producer, Harold Ramsey, to give Claudia a try at the part. Ramsey is thinking it over and has urged Larry not to let word of this plan get out. Larry has kept the utmost secrecy, not even telling Mary, which makes it all the more awkward that somehow the Broadway gossip columnist, Marty Rufus, has heard the rumor, and in his usual fashion has twisted the implications about in a most unfortunate way. Right now, in the luxurious Oyster Bay home of Rupert Barlow, financial backer of the play, we find Rupert's attractive secretary, Julia Dixon, in the sunroom, eagerly scanning the paper. And suddenly she is interrupted by...
So, this is where you're hiding out.
Oh, hello, Oliver. Oh, do come in.
Thank you, Julia. I swear I've walked all over this estate looking for you. I thought you'd suddenly packed up and left.
Now, Oliver, I'm sure you didn't think anything of the kind.
I did indeed. You've seemed so distant lately, my dear. Because of me?
Oh, of course not, Oliver. You're just imagining things.
I thought perhaps my visit here had caused you some inconvenience.
Now, really, you are making this up.
I think not. I'm quite certain that the dashing Rupert Barlow doesn't approve of my visit here to his home. And I doubt if you can deny that.
Well, you mustn't take Rupert too seriously.
No? Don't you take him seriously?
Well, yes. That is to say, perhaps I've taken him too seriously for the past 10 years.
Does that mean that you may not continue to do so?
It all depends.
That's very good to hear, Julia, because it gives me hope that there is still perhaps a chance for me.
Oh, Oliver, how sweet of you to say that.
I mean it, my dear. Surely you realize that I find you utterly fascinating. Of course, I am handicapped in many ways. I haven't a penny as long as I'm away from Bermuda. It's awkward. It's awkward having to live on the bounty of the woman you love.
Oh, Oliver, you mustn't think of it that way. It's too humiliating for you. Surely you know that I want you to have everything you want, everything you need.
Dash it all, Julia, it isn't for myself. It doesn't matter a hang. But it is awkward not to be able to buy you even the most trifling little gift.
I'm afraid I've been most inconsiderate. I hadn't realized that you're so very short of money. I'll see to it that you're more liberally supplied.
But how, my dear Julia? Surely you're not in a position to tap the Barlow till.
No, hardly that. But all the same, I have more than enough to see you through while you're here visiting. Oliver, I'm sorry that I've been so very clumsy about this before. Please don't think anything more about it. And please don't consider leaving us quite yet.
Oh, thank you, my dear. I shall most certainly accept your tender invitation, even at the cost of my host's rising irritation.
I have an idea that Rupert may be too busy right now to worry very much about you or about me either.
Oh? Why do you say that, Julia?
I've just been reading a Broadway gossip column written by Marty Rufus. And I imagine this particular item will make Rupert's blood boil.
Really? What's it all about?
Well, Marty Rufus hints very broadly that Larry Noble is infatuated with Claudia Vincent, and that he's trying to get her a part in his present play.
And why should that upset Rupert? I thought you told me that he'd been making quite a fuss over Mrs. Noble.
He has. For months he's made a perfect fool of himself over the woman.
Oh, my poor Julia. But how? How could he possibly look at another woman with you here? It's quite beyond me.
Rupert Barlow will always be running after attractive young women. I've known that for 10 years now.
Then it's high time you did something about it, my dear.
I suppose so, but yet...
I won't press the point now. But tell me more about this gossip column. I still don't quite understand.
Well, Claudia Vincent is a very beautiful woman. She's another of Rupert's former infatuations.
But surely Rupert can't expect all of his former girls to remain faithful to him through the years. That's rather absurd.
It isn't that he's still interested in Claudia, but that Larry Noble chose to believe Claudia's story instead of Rupert's. Claudia and Rupert had the most frightful scene here one day, shortly before you and I returned from Bermuda. And as a result, Larry Noble invited Claudia to return to their home. Now it appears he's fallen head over heels in love with her and is trying to get her installed in his play.
I still don't quite see how this affects you. Or Rupert either, for that matter.
Oh, I'm just afraid of one thing. And that is that Rupert may use this opportunity to persuade Mary to become, well, more interested in him.
I see. And that would bother you very much?
I can't help it, Oliver. I just couldn't bear to have that happen.
Well, in that case, my dear, suppose you let me see if I can help you. I'm rather good at this sort of thing, you know. And I fancy I may be able to hit upon a workable plan. Oh, but you must know that I hesitate to do anything of the sort, since it means giving you up to Rupert. Still, all's fair. So try and cheer up, my dear. Let's go for a drive to some nice country spot where we can have a pleasant dinner and an evening together.
All right, Oliver. Just let me go to my cottage and change my clothes. I'll be ready.
Oh, about the car. I noticed that Rupert has taken all the keys, and I wouldn't dream of asking that impudent man of his for anything.
That's all right. I have a duplicate set. Come along with me now, and I'll see which car Rupert's left for us.
Good girl. Oh, just let me open this door for you.
And as Oliver Wilson takes Julia Dixon's arm, he is watched by Victor, Rupert Barlow's man, who shares his employer's distrust of this handsome young fellow who appears to be so attentive to Julia. Meantime, in nearby Rosehaven, Rupert Barlow drives his handsome black convertible up to Mary Noble's door, and as he brings the car to a stop, we hear...
Well, my dear, much as I hate to return you, here we are.
Thank you, Rupert. It was a perfectly lovely day. I enjoyed it so much. And you were sweet to put up with me in my present mood.
Mary. I had hoped that we might continue through the evening together.
I felt that I had to get home. I was beginning to be a little worried. It was rather a bad thing to do, leaving the car in the village at the filling station and calling Phoebe to tell Larry where he could find it.
I observed that he got the message all right, since the car is over there at the end of the driveway.
Yes, but it was a beastly thing to do. I don't know why I was so rude.
I think it's quite understandable, my dear. If I had read such a story as you had to read in Marty Roof's column, I'd have been far more difficult about it than you've been.
I'm still very indignant about that. But at the same time, I shouldn't behave the way I did.
Well, Mary, what do you propose to do about this romantic attachment between your husband and Claudia Vincent?
I don't know, Rupert. Except that I mean to be very aloof and dignified about the whole thing. It's up to Larry to make some declaration.
Oh, I see. That's rather hard on you, isn't it, Mary?
There isn't anything else I can do, Rupert. It's too awful to consider. I can't really believe Larry would do such a thing to me.
Mary, you underestimate Claudia Vincent's cleverness. There's the whole answer. I'm sorry this had to happen to you. I want you to know that you can always count on me for sympathy and any help I'm able to give.
Thank you, Rupert. You've been very sweet. But I simply must go in now. Will you come in for a while?
No, I believe not, Mary. My presence would only be adding fuel to the fire. I'll call you soon. And meantime, remember what I said. Count on me for anything you want, my dear.
Thanks again, Rupert. I'll remember that.
Bye.
Well, Mary?
Oh, hello, Larry. I just got back.
Yes, so I see. Did you have a nice day?
Very nice, thank you.
Thanks for letting me know where to find our car. Made everything very convenient. All I had to do was hire a taxi and drive to the village, then bring it back.
I'm sorry you were put out. But I just happened to meet Rupert in the village, and he asked me to go driving to Montauk.
I see. In that case, it's quite understandable. And now you mention it, don't you think it's rather remarkable the way you always just happen to meet Rupert Barlow whenever there's anything that occurs to bother you?
It is rather amazing, as a matter of fact. And you have no idea how it helps.
Oh, I'm sure it does.
If you don't mind, Larry, I'll go out to the kitchen and see Phoebe and tell her that I'm back. It's nearly dinner time.
Oh, please don't worry about me, Mary. Or Claudia. We're both on our way to New York. We'll either eat on the way or have supper after the play.
I see. In that case, I'll just tell Phoebe I'm back.
As Mary walks silently toward the kitchen, Larry makes a move to call her back, then reconsiders and says nothing. For he remembers the way Mary and Rupert Barlow sat out in the car and talked after they arrived, and his jealous anger is fanned to a white-hot flame. Be sure to be listening tomorrow to Backstage Wife, the story of Mary Noble and her husband Larry Noble, famous Broadway star.
Pet Milk Show, usually heard at this time, has moved to a new time period on Sunday nights. Be sure to hear Larry Douglas and Kay Arman on the new Pet Milk Show tomorrow night on NBC.
And now, here's another in NBC's great parade of new shows.
Gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
NBC brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to a homicide detail. A man's wife has suddenly dropped from sight. On the surface, it appears only as a routine missing persons case. You start to investigate. Suspicion grows. There is evidence of possible foul play. Your job, find the woman or find her murderer.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. Investigated and solved by the men who unrelentingly stand watch on the security of your home, your family, and your life. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, September 15th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working a day watch out of homicide. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Ed Backstrand, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. I was on the way back from lunch, and it was 12:56 when I got to room 42. Homicide.
Hi, Joe. Waiting for you.
Hiya, Ben. Al.
Hi.
I hear you got something for us.
Here's a report right here. Gardener by the name of Eric Kelby called in day before yesterday. Said his wife disappeared from their home out in the valley Sunday night. Says he thinks she left him.
Well, it happens every day, Barghetti.
Not this way, it doesn't. Walsh and I went out yesterday to interview the guy. The story doesn't add.
Why not?
None of her clothes are missing. None of her luggage. She even left her pocketbook behind, full of money. Found out from the neighbors a missing woman is a 17-year-old boy by a former marriage.
So what?
An only child. Mother dotes on the kid. She didn't even say goodbye to him.
How did this Eric Kelby impress you?
Pretty grouchy with Walsh and me. No cooperation.
Wants to find his wife, doesn't he?
I don't know if he does or not. It's no help, I'll tell you that.
Can I see that report a minute now?
Here you are.
Agnes Trumbull Kelby, age 39.
Kelby's her second husband. First one died a little after the boy was born.
Mm-hmm. Disappeared Sunday night from her home, 546 Belasco Road, between 7 and 8 o'clock. When did Kelby call in?
Monday afternoon. Said he thought his wife might be spending the night with her sister. When he found out she wasn't, he called us.
Did you meet the boy while you were out there, Borghetti?
Yeah, that's another thing. Kid came riding in on a bike while we were talking to one of the neighbors. Trying to talk to him, but the old man came out hustling him inside the house. Then he starts eating us out.
What'd he say?
Told us it was our job to find his wife, not to go prying into her stepson's affairs.
Well, that's a news slant.
How about her friends and relatives around here, Al? Any besides her sister?
Walsh located a couple of her aunts. I don't think he's checked them yet, though. I'll tell you, boys, this is one I'll bet on.
Maybe. You got the names of Mrs. Kelby's relatives?
Oh, yeah. They're right over here. Sure wish we had a chance to talk to that boy.
Yeah. How's it feel to you, Ben?
I don't know. Notice anything else funny about the guy, Al?
I don't know. Well, here's those names, Joe.
Thanks.
Kelby was upset, all right. For some reason, he didn't strike me as reacting the way a normal guy reacts when his wife disappears.
All right, Al. How would you react?
Barghetti's worrying again.
Oh, now listen, boys. It's no fooling matter. This is one I'll bet on. It's a homicide.
All right. How about a copy of this report?
Yeah, where'll I get the phone? Missing person spaghetti. Who's that? Oh. Yes. Yes. About what? Oh, sure. All right, sir. 4:00. Yeah. Goodbye. That was Kelby's stepson.
What do you want?
Thinks something's happened to his mother.
In police work, missing persons detail is not a department separate in itself. It is organized as a part of the Homicide Bureau. According to Barghetti, who took the call, the boy said he suspected his stepfather, and he didn't want him to know of any meeting between him and police officers. He would meet the officers that afternoon at 4 p.m. in a restaurant on the corner of Hollywood Boulevard and Fairfax Avenue. At 3:15, Ben and I left the office and drove out to the meeting place, the Dairyland Fountain and Coffee Shop. We arrived there at 3:45. At 8 minutes to 5, the Kelby boy still had not arrived.
Youngster's not very prompt.
Let's wait a little while longer.
Yeah. Smoke?
Yeah, thanks.
Want some more coffee?
No, thanks. I guess the boy isn't going to show.
Think something's happened?
15 minutes after we left the coffee shop, we drove up in front of the gate of the Kelby nursery on Belasco Road. The house itself was set well back on the property, which covered about 4 acres. The entire nursery was surrounded by a 6-foot steel wire fence, and it looked like almost every available foot of ground inside was planted with some kind of a flower or shrub. Kelby met us at the gate.
Yes? What do you men want?
Police officers. Are you Mr. Kelby?
Yes, what do you want?
Well, if you'll shut those dogs up for a minute, we'd like to ask you a few questions.
I'm busy now. Can't you come back tomorrow?
Pretty important, Mr. Kelby. I think we better talk right now.
All right, if you have to. Red, Giant, down. You two, Honey. Quiet. All right. Now, what do you want?
Mind if we come inside?
These watchdogs of mine are pretty vicious. We can talk here at the gate.
All right, Mr. Kelby. This is Sergeant Romero. My name's Friday. We've been assigned to look into your wife's disappearance.
Oh. Did you find anything yet?
Nothing definite. Maybe you can help us. Would you tell us exactly what happened the night your wife disappeared?
What do you mean, what happened?
Well, when did you last see her? When you first noticed she was gone?
We finished up Sunday night dinner about 7 o'clock, and I laid down for a nap. Agnes went out on the front porch for some air. I woke up a little before 8 and went outside to look for her. She was gone.
Nobody saw her leave, Mr. Kelby?
Not that I know of. Maybe some of our nosy neighbors, I don't know.
How about your stepson? Wasn't he around Sunday night?
Bruce? No, went out to a show. Some other kids.
When did he get back from the show?
About 10, I think. Why?
Where's your stepson now?
Who are you looking for, my wife or my stepson?
Both, Mr. Kelby. Where's your stepson?
Gone. I took him over to my sister's in Alhambra. Been feeling bad since his mother disappeared. Figured the change would do him good.
Why did you take him over to your sister's, Kelby?
This afternoon. What's that got to do with it?
We'd like to talk to Bruce.
No, I can't allow it. The boy's too upset. I can't allow it.
I'm afraid you're going to have to allow it.
Listen, mister, you can get off this property right now. No cop's giving me sass.
Nobody's giving you sass, Kelby. We want to talk to your stepson, that's all. He might give us a clue as to the whereabouts of your wife.
And I say you can't see the boy. What's more, you cops couldn't find thorns in a rose patch. I'll get somebody else to look for Agnes. It's my business anyway, nobody else's.
It's our business, too, if anything's happened to her.
What are you talking about?
You better get your coat, Mr. Kelby. We're taking you in for questioning.
You come through that gate, and I'm going to let these dogs go, accidentally.
I'd hate to shoot the dogs. Now go on in the house and get your coat. Eric Kelby turned and made his way up the path and into the house. 5 minutes later, he came out. Without a word to either of us, he came down the path, closed the gate behind him, and got into our car. On the way back to headquarters, he chatted pleasantly about the weather, the nursery business, and his dogs. When we pulled up in front of the city hall, we met the reason for his sudden change in temperament. His lawyer was waiting for us at the door. We took Kelby to one of the interrogation rooms. His lawyer tagged along. We tried to question him, but the lawyer objected to 2 out of every 3 questions we asked. It was hopeless, and we knew it. So did the lawyer. We released Kelby, but we did get the name and address of his sister where the stepson Bruce was staying. After they left, Ben and I got back in the car and drove out to Alhambra to check on the boy.
Spaghetti had this one pegged right, Joe. It's a real sleeper.
Yeah. I'd like to know how the stepson missed that date with us this afternoon.
Well, if the kid called us from the house, his stepfather could have overheard him.
It's possible. Sister's house ought to be along this block, shouldn't it?
Yeah, let's see. 1408, 1406. Right is your gray cottage, 1402.
Right. It's a nice-looking little place, isn't it? Well kept.
Yeah, it's a nice neighborhood. I wonder how the lot prices run out here. Somebody's coming.
Yes, what is it?
Police officers, ma'am. Are you Miss Kelby?
Bertha Kelby, yes, that's my name. Why?
We talked to your brother earlier today, Miss Kelby. He said that you brought his stepson Bruce here to stay for a while. We'd like to see him.
Bruce? Yes, he was here till about, an hour and a half ago. I went to the store, and when I came back, he was gone.
Have you any idea where he might be, Miss Kelby?
Well, I telephoned my brother Eric's place just before you came to the door. He's not there. I don't know where he might be. I'm worried about him. He seems so upset. This business about his mother's disappearance, you know.
Would you mind if we came in and looked around, Miss Kelby?
Well, no, not at all.
We went in and looked the house over from one end to the other. There wasn't a trace of the boy. We drove back to Kelby's nursery and satisfied ourselves the boy wasn't there. Then we came back to Alhambra and we kept an eye on Miss Bertha Kelby's home until midnight. No one came or went. At 5 minutes past midnight, the lights went off in the living room, and a few minutes later, in the back of the house. The next morning, when Ben and I checked in for work as usual at 8 o'clock, we met with Captain of Homicide, Frank Kearney.
What makes you two so positive there has been any foul play in this Kelby thing?
That's just it, Cap. We're not positive. It's a whole setup. It smells bad.
For instance?
That lawyer. If a man's innocent, he doesn't need a lawyer to sit with him in the interrogation room and tell him not to answer questions. Number two, that kid's telephone call.
Maybe he doesn't get along with his stepfather. It happens, you know. Maybe he's trying to get back at him for something or other.
Maybe. Then why is Kelby hiding him out?
You sure he's hiding him out?
No other way to take it, Cap.
The Kelby woman walked away from her home Sunday night. Nobody saw her. She took nothing with her. No clothes, no luggage, no money. You checked with the family doctor?
Yesterday. He told us Mrs. Kelby was in perfect health. We double-checked the Wanderer's file and the Repeater's file and missing persons. Couldn't find her name in either one.
How about her relatives in town?
Haven't had a chance to talk to him yet, Cap. We'll check him this morning.
Well, one thing's certain. The woman couldn't have gone very far.
We checked the sheriff's office, the jails, the hospitals.
Sent out a teletype and an APB. Every cop in the city has her description. She's been gone almost 4 days, but nobody's seen her. How does that add up to you?
It doesn't. You better move on it. Check every one of Mrs. Kelby's friends and relatives.
Right, Frank.
Then try the neighbors. As long as I've been a cop, neighbors have been able to tell everything about anyone.
All that day, Ben and I made the rounds. First stop was the Western National Bank, where Mrs. Kelby maintained her account. Her savings statement showed a total balance of $31,564.17. Her separate checking account had a balance of $842.71. At the Farmers Mutual, we found the record of an insurance policy issued to Agnes Trumbull Kelby. It was a 20-pay life policy covering the insured in the amount of $30,000. The beneficiary was listed as the insured son, Bruce Trumbull Kelby, if living upon the receipt of such due proof. If not, the insured's husband, Eric J. Kelby. By the time we finished checking her financial status, the odds were piling up fast. From only casual reports, we knew that Eric Kelby was a frugal man. If he was greedy as well, if he wanted or needed money badly enough to kill, then he had all the motives necessary to murder his wife. Maybe his stepson, too. Ben and I started to make the rounds of Mrs. Kelby's friends and relatives. Our first stop was at the apartment of Agnes Kelby's sister, a talkative maiden lady in her early 60s.
Agnes just isn't that kind. Oh, I'm worried sick about this. I really am. And Bruce, the poor lad, he must be heartsick. And Eric, what does Eric say about all this?
He says he thinks his wife left him.
Left him? Why, that's ridiculous. How strange.
Can you think of any good reason why your sister would leave Mr. Kelby?
Why, no. They had tiffs, of course, small ones. But, of course, there was that argument about Bruce. The two of them always seem to be arguing about Bruce.
How do you mean, ma'am?
Oh, well, raising the boy and all, you know. The last time I talked to them, they were tipping about whether or not Bruce should be paid for working in the nursery for Eric. And the strangest thing, Eric seemed to be so upset about it all. Imagine. All on account of paying the boy a few dollars for good, honest work in that silly nursery. Well, you know, I'm the outspoken kind, and I just told Eric. Eric, I said, don't be an old meanie. Pay the boy.
That was the extent of the information which Mrs. Kelby's sister had to offer. Next, we called on an aunt, Mrs. James D. Trumbull, 83 years old. She could hardly understand our questions, let alone answer them. She hadn't seen her niece, Agnes, in a year. After that, we paid a visit to one of Mrs. Kelby's friends, a Mrs. Lillian Humboldt.
Well, I'm sorry, Sergeant, but I can't think of any good reason why she would leave him. Unless that silly business about Bruce got out of hand. You know, maybe Eric is just a little jealous of the boy.
Next, we called on Daisy McLeod, who worked as a day maid for Mrs. Kelby.
Officer, what Mr. and Mrs. Kelby thought, what they said, what they did, it's none of my business. I come in the morning, I do my work, I do it well. I'm not the nosy type, and I don't pry. I take half an hour for lunch, and when I'm through, I take my pay, and I don't expect tips, and I take the bus home. I'm not the peeking through the keyhole kind, sneaking around corners listening. But what I couldn't tell you about that man.
Exactly what do you mean, Miss McLeod?
Oh, he's a hard man, you know. They're always arguing about the boy. Bruce this, Bruce that. He's a nice boy, I think. He's never done anything to me. Oh, but the arguments. Him and her all the time. Should the boy be paid for working? Shouldn't he? Why? Why not all the time? It's just bad.
When Ben and I finished with a list of Mrs. Kelby's friends, relatives, and employees, we started out on the neighbors. None of them saw Mrs. Kelby after 6 p.m. the night she disappeared. 2 of the neighbors said they saw the porch light burning after 7 p.m., but both said the porch was empty. Mrs. Kelby was not sitting in her chair at the usual time after dinner. According to them, it was one of her habits. It was 10 minutes to 6 by the time Ben and I got back to the office. The light was still burning in Captain Kearney's office.
Full day, Joe. Not a mighty.
Yeah. Wonder what the captain's hanging around for.
Let's find out.
Get anything?
Pretty good luck, yeah.
Good. I've got some more for you. Just walked in 5 minutes ago.
What do you mean, Frank? Who walked in?
Bruce Kelby. He's waiting in the next room.
We went in the next room and met Bruce Kelby. He was small for a 17-year-old, dark-haired, and a little on the sickly side. He told us that he couldn't keep the date he made with us on the phone because his stepfather apparently did overhear the conversation and drove him directly to his sister's home in Alhambra. We asked him why he was so sure that his stepfather was responsible for his mother's sudden disappearance.
For one thing, all 3 of us usually go to the early show on Sunday night. Eric, Mom, and me. But last Sunday, Eric said he wasn't feeling good and he wanted Mom to stay home and take care of him. Then he told me to go on ahead to the show, so I did.
What time did you get home, son?
About 9:30, 9:45.
What was your stepfather doing when you got home?
Sitting in the living room reading the paper.
Did you notice anything unusual about the way he acted?
He was nervous and jumpy, more than usual, I think.
Anything else?
Yes, sir. When I came in through the front yard, I noticed the dogs had mud all over their paws. They'd been out somewhere in the nursery plots. And they won't go out in the plots unless Eric's with them. He doesn't want them to trample the seedlings.
What would your stepfather be doing out in the nursery at night? Does he usually do some work at night?
No, sir. None of the plots are even lighted. Only the greenhouses.
And the paths in the greenhouses are usually graveled, aren't they? No mud around.
It's my job to see that the greenhouse paths are kept graveled. I know they're not muddy. I fixed them the day before, Saturday.
What do you think it means, son?
I don't know. I don't want to think about it. I just know he's done something. He's done something to her.
Did your stepfather give you any reason for keeping you away from the police officers the other day?
No, sir. He said people were getting nosy, and he said it might be better for me over at Aunt Bertha's. She's his sister.
Do you think your Aunt Bertha might know where your mother is?
No, we hardly ever see her. We don't know her well at all.
We've heard your mother and your stepfather argued about whether you should be paid for your work in the nursery.
When I started to work for him, he promised he'd pay me. I was saving up to buy a 31 Model A. And then after a couple of months, when he didn't pay me, I asked him. He told me I ought to be glad to work for him for nothing.
And your mother argued with him over that?
Sure, it was her money that bought the nursery anyway.
How'd you get away from your aunt's place last night?
Well, Bertha had some shopping to do, and she left me alone. She locked the door to my room. Even the screen over the window in my room was nailed down, but I kicked it out and got away. I stayed at a friend's house last night.
Thought about where you're going to stay tonight?
I don't know. But I'm not going home. And I'm not going back to Bertha's place either. I'll get a room.
How'd you like to stay at my house a few days?
Sure nice of you, sir. Maybe I'd better not. Mom might not like it.
Oh, I'll take care of that. Now let's hop out and get some dinner.
Sure darn nice of you, sir.
All right, son. Come with me.
What do you think, Joe?
He could be lying. Yeah.
Now what, Cap? Shall we bring Kelby in again?
No, not yet. He's found out by now from his sister that the boy's gone. He probably figures the police station is the first place he'd come.
Wouldn't do much good pulling him in now, Ben. We couldn't even question him. 10 to 1 his lawyer would be waiting for us when we got back.
That's the problem. How do we get to this Kelby without his lawyer finding out?
Well, what about the early morning, Cap? Say tomorrow, about 5 or 6 a.m. Think you'd be looking for us then?
Yeah, that might do it.
We can just get by that pack of hounds he owns without waking the whole neighborhood. Might work.
If we could just question him alone, I got an idea it wouldn't take much to make him cop out.
All right, give it a try. Get out there in the early morning and bring him in for questioning as quietly as possible. I'll be in at 6 a.m. If you want me before then, call me at home.
All right, Frank.
Kelby's got a smart lawyer. It's going to be plenty hard to convict him without a body and corroborating evidence.
He's got 4 acres out there, Cap. You can hide a lot of bodies in 4 acres.
Well, that's what I mean. This case isn't ending. It's just beginning.
The next morning, Ben and I met at the office about a few minutes past 4 a.m. We had a cup of coffee and a donut at an all-night restaurant, and then we started for the Kelby place out on Belasco Road. We took 4 pounds of fresh horse meat with us to keep the dogs quiet if they raised a fuss. It was 28 minutes past 4 when Ben pulled the car to a stop a few hundred feet from the gate to the Kelby nursery. We got out of the car and made our way down the road to the gate. I reached in and tried the latch. It was padlocked. The dogs started in. Okay, Ben, looks like we'll have to jump the fence. Toss some of that horse meat over to him.
Yeah, here.
That's it. Come on, let's climb.
Keep an eye on those hounds. Looks like they could chew your leg off.
Yeah. Here comes the third one, Ben. Toss some more meat.
Yeah. There you are, boy. Go get it. Go get it, boy. There.
Look, Ben, lights going on in the house.
Come on, let's make it fast.
Who is it? Who's there? I'll set the dogs on you.
Police officers, Mr. Kelby.
What? What are you doing out here this time of night?
You're under arrest, Kelby. Get your coat.
You cops are asking for a peck of trouble.
Get your coat.
Where's my stepson? What you done with him?
What have you done with your wife?
You're going to pay for this. I'll have your jobs.
That's not the first time we heard that, Kelby. Let's go. Lights burning in the captain's office.
Yeah. All right, Kelby, in here.
You pay for this, mark my word.
Ben, take him in the office here and stay with him. I'll see if Frank's in yet.
Right, Joe. Come on, Kelby, inside.
Friday? You bring in Kelby?
He's down in the interrogation room. Ben's with him.
Somebody saw you.
Don't think so.
They must have. Kelby's lawyer's sitting in the next room.
Kelby again refused to answer any questions without the advice of his attorney. We released him. That day, Captain Kearney sent out 2 men to keep an eye on the nursery and report on all of Kelby's movements. Shortly after 7 o'clock that night, just after nightfall, we tried once again to bring in Kelby for questioning without his lawyer's knowledge. It didn't work. A little after we booked him, his lawyer obtained a writ of habeas corpus. We had to release him again. The 2 men assigned to stake out the Kelby place reported definitely that somebody was tipping the lawyer whenever unknown visitors showed up at the nursery and drove off with Kelby. There was nothing we could do about it. The next morning, Kearney came up with a lead.
I had a long talk with the boy last night. Accidentally, I think he's given us a pretty good lead.
Yeah?
There's only one way we'll ever get a conviction. That's by finding the body and evidence to tie Kelby in.
Yeah, that'll do it. Where do we start looking?
In a new rose bed next to one of the greenhouses in Kelby's nursery. The kid came up with it last night.
How come?
First, Kelby's crazy about saving $1 and making one.
Yeah.
In the nursery trade, especially where you have a limited area to work in, like Kelby, you cultivate every foot of ground. Every bit of soil you got is planted with something. Kelby's not the type to waste anything. Especially he's not the kind that would let ground lie fallow when he could plant something that might bring in a few dollars next season. Bruce tells me his stepfather has every inch of those 4 acres planted. Every inch. Except a 6 by 9 foot plot of ground in that rose garden.
Oh, that sounds like a long shot to me, Frank.
The boy said he prepared that piece of ground for planting late Saturday afternoon. His stepfather wanted it ready for Sunday morning. The plot of ground's still vacant.
Might have planned it yesterday, Cap. When's the last time you checked?
Before I came to work this morning. I called the men on stakeout next to the nursery. They told me the plot's still empty.
It's worth a chance, Frank. When do we look it over?
Tonight. I don't want Kelby or his lawyer to know a thing until we find that body.
Well, how are we going to work it?
We'll order up a crew from the crime lab. They can take probings through that plot and all around it. They can tell us without any guesswork how deep that ground's been worked over lately.
When do you want to start?
Be here in the office at 8:30 tonight. If my hunches are any good, we'll find the body.
It was 10 minutes past 9 that night when we got to the Kelby place. Lieutenant Lee Jones and his assistants, Kearney, Ben, and 2 other men from homicide. The men on stakeout told us that Kelby had left about 20 minutes before in a dark blue coupe. Ben brought along the usual supply of horse meat for the dogs, so we didn't have any trouble there. We found the empty plot of ground in the rose bed next to the greenhouse, exactly as Bruce described it to Kearney.
Ground's been worked over all right, boys. At least 4 to 5 feet down.
All right, Lee, let's start digging. Romero, take care of the dogs. Watson, grab one of these shovels.
Right, Captain. Hey, Kelby said these dogs were vicious, didn't he?
Yeah, why?
Look at these hounds. They're no more vicious than a lively colt. Look.
Higgins, get that light over here, will you? Thanks.
What is it, Lee?
Let me see. Teeth. Set of false teeth.
Been in the ground long?
Don't think so, judging from the shape they're in.
How far down would you say, Yarley?
A couple of feet. Ground's real soft.
Lee, come here a minute.
What is it?
Body. Here's the shoulder.
All right, you men over here with Watson. Get the dirt off the face. Romero, you got a picture of the Kelby woman?
Yeah, Cap. Let's see. Right here, then.
Thanks. Get the light down here.
Hunch paid off, Frank. That's her. Ben and I went back to the car and notified communications to broadcast a warrant for murder on Eric Kelby. His description, together with a description of the car and license number of the car he was driving, was rebroadcast every 15 minutes. Then we went back to check the house. We found the front door unlocked. We went inside and looked around. In one bedroom, we found clothes scattered over the bed and the floor. There was only one old suit remaining in the closet. On the table next to the bed, we found an airline's timetable. We got to the phone and notified communications to alert all police details at railroad stations, bus terminals, and airlines, and then to send out an APB on the teletype. After that, we checked with the airlines. One of them told us that a man answering Kelby's description had booked passage for Mexico City. The plane was scheduled to take off at 10:40 that night from Burbank Airport. Ben's watch said 4 minutes past 10. We called the detail at the airport and alerted them. Then we drove over to check in person. It was 10:35 p.m. when Ben and I took up our positions just inside Gate 3, where passengers were boarding Flight 72 for Mexico City.
He's cutting it close, Joe. Got about 4 minutes more to make that plane.
We waited. The crowd got thicker as departure time came closer. At 10:39, Eric Kelby came through the main entrance, across the terminal, through Gate 3, into a pair of handcuffs.
I don't understand. What does this mean?
We found your wife's body, Kelby.
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
In the rose patch next to the greenhouse. Your lawyer can't help this time.
Mexico City. Would have been a nice trip. Expensive.
I'll plead insanity. I didn't know what I was doing.
Be a nice vacation next year, Joe, Mexico City. I'm going to talk to my wife about it.
I didn't mean it. She slapped me. We were arguing about the boy. I didn't mean it.
I don't know if you did or not, Kelby, but you killed her. Come on. You missed your plane.
The story you have just heard is true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
Eric Kelby was tried and convicted of murder in the first degree. He is now awaiting execution in the lethal gas chamber at the state penitentiary. You have just heard the 14th in a new series of authentic cases transcribed from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the office of W.A. Wharton, Acting Chief of Police, Los Angeles Police Department.
Tonight's program is dedicated to William J. Weston, Jr. of the Washington, D.C. Police Department, who on the evening of March 4th, 1945, gave his life so that yours might be more secure. Dragnet came to you from Los Angeles. If you enjoyed tonight's production of Dragnet, You'll want to listen to Richard Diamond, private detective, as played by the screen's romantic tough guy, Dick Powell.
The Pet Milk Show, usually heard at this time, has moved to a new time period on Sunday nights. Be sure to hear Larry Douglas and Kay Arman on the new Pet Milk Show tomorrow night on NBC. This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.
My name's Jeff Regan. I get 10 a day in expenses from a detective bureau run by a guy named Anthony J. Lyon. They call me the Lion's Eye.
With Jack Webb as Jeff Regan, investigator, stand by for hard-boiled action and mystery and thrilling adventure in tonight's story of The Man with the Key.
A block above Wilton on Hollywood Boulevard, there's a street they call Taft. It isn't very long. About 48 palm trees and a couple of bad sewers. It figures that the guy who laid it was nearsighted. He didn't see the hills 3 blocks away. Got kind of a tired look, like an old lady who's been moving furniture. There's a dirty gray apartment house on the right-hand side of the street. That's my place. 308. A low ceiling and a leaky faucet. A telephone that rings at the wrong time. It was last Monday night, about 11 o'clock. I was in bed listening to the party next door when it rang. It was the Lion.
Regan, get your clothes on.
That the way you sleep?
You're going to be busy. We got a new client.
Well, tell me all about it in the morning.
Special messenger came to my place 15 minutes ago with a C note.
Any good?
It was from somebody named Dora King.
Well, who's that?
That's what you're going to find out.
I can see better in the daytime.
She's waiting for you right now.
Oh, yeah.
At a place on La Brea called the Sullivan.
Should I take my banjo?
Don't be funny. She wants to talk to you, so get over there.
Well, what does she want to talk about?
How would I know?
Well, don't you ever check into things?
That's what I pay you for.
All right, where's last week's salary?
You'll get it.
When?
As soon as I find out if your expenses were legit. Now get busy.
That all?
No, call me right after you've seen her.
Why?
I want to know what's what.
You mean you want to know if she can afford more than a C note?
You're getting out of line.
That's what they told Gypsy Rose Lee. Well, I got over there about 11:30. Turned out to be a small place, long on the shadows and short on the whiskey. There was a bald-headed guy playing a piano in one corner. I guess he'd been inside for a long time, because he'd never been out for a music lesson. The bartender was the only other guy in the joint. His name couldn't have been Dora King. So I went to work on a straight shot and waited. 2 drinks later, a girl in a black dress walked in. She took in the piano player and the bartender and me. I won. She started toward me with a slow, easy kind of a walk, like a panther looking for breakfast. When she oozed onto the stool beside me, the bartender got damp all over. The air conditioning wasn't doing him any good.
What'll it be, miss?
Make it the same as his.
Okay, put them in water.
Got a match?
Yeah?
Got a cigarette?
Mm-hmm.
Got a name?
Maybe.
I'll bet it's Regan.
All right, you got that much.
My name's Dora King. I'm sorry I'm late.
You ever on time when you meet a guy?
No.
Your money, you can spend it any way you want.
You always this nice to customers?
I don't get paid to be nice.
What do you get paid for?
Have you got a story?
I haven't had my drink yet.
Hey, you.
Coming up. I'm jet propelled. Here you are, miss. Hey, hot night, ain't it?
You waiting for the weather to change?
It ain't gonna change in here, brother.
What's your first name?
Jeff.
I don't like it.
Neither do I.
I'm going to call you Regan.
All right, let's start calling.
Have you got a license?
Covers up a hole in my wall.
Have you got something that says you're what you say you are?
All right. Here.
The Lion's Eye. 6 feet, 170. Brown eyes. You fit?
Yeah, I got a mole on my left shoulder.
Let me feel. You pass.
Okay, you won the toss. Let's kick off.
Well, this isn't where we play. We'll go in my car.
Where?
You'll find out when you get there.
Maybe I won't like the field.
You trust me, don't you?
No.
Good.
Fill her up again?
We're just leaving.
Floor show starts in a couple of minutes.
That piano player going to be in it?
Yeah, he's my brother. He's going to play something he wrote himself.
Any good?
Stinks. Maybe you better go.
Well, the bartender was pouring himself 4 fingers of rye and about a fingernail of water when we walked out of there. We climbed into a big Nash convertible, parked in front of the place, and headed for Santa Monica Boulevard. Then we turned east, past Western, down to Vermont, and south to Marathon. All at once, we were climbing a hill on a dark street. That gave us a view of the city. 20 years ago, a real estate broker might have had something, but now it was just an old neighborhood with a sad look, like a toe dancer with a short leg. Nobody said anything. And I was beginning to have a feeling that maybe she'd forgot her compass when she slowed the car down. She pointed to a 2-story house in the middle of the block, and I nodded. Then she shoved the car in second and spun around the corner and came to a stop. I got out and walked around to let her out. She didn't move.
End of the line.
Short fare.
Time for you to go to work.
What kind of work?
The white place back there, 3936. You saw it?
It came through.
It's a boarding house.
I already got a room.
On the 2nd floor, number 10. Knocked twice.
Prohibition's dead, lady.
There's a man there. His name's Bender. Ben Bender.
That'll wake him up.
He's expecting you.
You're quitting?
My job's finished. You're the new help.
Well, what do I do?
He'll tell you.
That all?
One thing more. Come here.
Part of my fee?
That's extra.
I don't generally get tipped.
Just for luck.
You act like I'm going to need lots of it.
You are.
When do I see you again?
You don't. Goodbye, gorgeous.
I stood there and watched her drive away. And then I noticed it. Somebody in a black coupe coasted around the corner, kicked into high gear at the bottom of the hill. I kept watching, but whoever it was hadn't read the traffic laws lately. He didn't use his lights for 2 blocks. Oh, it registered. He was on a tail job, and Dora was nice to tail. 3936 Marathon. Inside, it smelled like stale beer and rotting wood. Room number 10 was at the top of the stairs. The door was already open. A thin guy with a hungry look was sitting on the edge of the bed. He was all bones. He didn't get up when I came in. He just kind of looked at me, and his eyes were full of water. All of a sudden, he pulled a bandana out of his pocket and began coughing. You're sitting in a draft.
All my life. You Regan?
A girl with warm lips said I'd find you here.
Thanks for coming. Sit down. Hey, just got back from a trip.
Up north?
Yeah.
Sanitarium?
State said I needed a cure.
Did it take?
What do you think?
You're still coughing.
The doctor said I could go. You can give me a going-away present. $10 and a suit of clothes. It's a bum rap.
That's what they all say.
Who I am?
Ben Bender.
Big Ben Bender. Does that mean anything to you, Pilgrim?
Must have been before my time.
Yeah? How old do you think I am?
I'm out of practice.
I look 60. And I'm 45. That's what 7 years in the sanitarium will do.
You ought to get a specialist.
Already got one.
What's his name?
You.
No, I'm only an intern.
You'll do.
All right, what do you want?
When the guy goes up there, he makes a lot of friends. And a lot of enemies. Sometimes you can't tell one from the other.
Does it make any difference?
Big Ben don't trust nobody.
No? What about that girl?
Dora? Forget her. Her job's done.
That's what she said.
See this key?
Yeah?
I wear it around my neck. I worn it for 7 years. You'll wear it for the next 7 hours.
Why?
Them friends and enemies I was telling you about.
What does the key fit?
My safety deposit box at the American Security Bank. You meet me there. Tomorrow, at 10.
What if I oversleep?
Stay up all night. I'll pay for the no-dose. Just be there.
After that?
Then your job's finished. It's off this door you ever made.
Look, now, you kept this key 7 years. Why can't you keep it for 7 more hours?
My business.
What's in the box?
My business.
Okay. Any of those friends or enemies drive a black coupe, white sidewalls?
I don't know. Why?
My business. I left him sitting there. He looked as happy as a sword swallower with the hiccups. Well, I put the key in my coat pocket, but it felt hot, like a dynamite stick with a short fuse. If Big Ben had been holding it for so long, somebody else might want it. Maybe somebody who drove that black coupe. Well, I went out the back entrance, walked down an alley, and doubled over 5 blocks to Vermont. I stopped a cab, and I had him take me over to the Lyons place. It was 2:30 in the morning when he opened the front door. He was wrapped in a bathrobe big enough to keep all the silkworms working overtime.
What do you want, Regan?
Information.
You been drinking?
I've been working.
What kind of work?
Well, I got a key.
That all?
That's what they say.
Who's they?
A con named Bender.
Ben Bender?
That's right.
I thought he was doing a long run up in Quentin.
Well, he's out now.
Where does Dora King fit?
Taxi service. She took me to Bender. He gave me the key.
Let me see it.
All right, here.
Safety deposit box.
That's right. Nursemaid to a hunk of metal until tomorrow at 10.
What then?
Well, I meet him at the American Security Bank and turn it over to him.
Well, do it.
Now, look, Big Shot, this key's hot.
What makes it hot?
Whatever's in that box.
What's that?
How should I know?
Find out. You got the key.
You got the client.
Now, just a minute.
Somebody waves a greenback at you and you think it's a rainbow.
That's enough.
Oh, stop it, will you? It's another bum client and you know it.
Let me worry about that.
If Ben held that key for 7 years and won't hold it now, he's scared.
What's he got to be scared of?
Somebody else who wants in on the
So
play.
what?
I'm holding the key. That makes me the clay pigeon.
You're getting paid for it. Just be there tomorrow at 10. Alive.
Well, I left the Lion and went out to the street. Nobody was there. I hailed a cab, and he let me off in front of my place. Nobody was there. I opened the front door of my apartment. Nobody was there. It began to feel like a good bet for the Lonely Hearts Club. It was a good feeling. I sat up all that night waiting. Nothing happened. I felt about as popular as a bald-headed chorus girl. Nobody made a play. It was 5 minutes to 10 when I pulled into the parking lot next to the American Security Bank. The car next to me was a black coupe with white sidewalls. It could have been the same one that tailed us the night before. But then I figured there's a lot of cars in L.A. like that. But I leaned in and I looked at the registration. This one belonged to a guy named Al Spandy, who lived in Van Nuys. I wrote the address down and walked into the bank. The guard in a blue uniform waved me downstairs to the safety deposit boxes. It was 10, and still nothing happened. I began to feel kind of relieved, like a flagpole sitter when the wind died down. Big Ben hadn't showed yet. The only one there was a blonde sitting in a glass cage in front of the vaults. She looked at me, and I began to wonder what she did on her days off.
Good morning. May I help you?
Yeah, I want to see if the rent on my box has been paid. Here's the key.
60B. Just a minute. I'll take a look. 60B. 60B's all paid for.
Well, I guess my partner must have taken care of it.
This isn't a joint box. You're the only one who can get into it, Mr. Bender. Would you like to go in now?
No, I'm waiting for somebody.
We're all waiting for somebody.
I'm waiting for a man.
So am I.
Been waiting long?
Years.
Here?
Yes.
Better places to wait.
The ones with money keep coming here. My name's Claire.
I'll remember that.
Will you remember this? Granite 3408.
I'll try it on my phone.
When?
As soon as I get a spare nickel.
I'll give you one.
Well, you'll run out of them that way.
That's why I work in a bank.
Kind of hard on the depositors.
Your, friend's late, isn't he?
I can wait.
Maybe he forgot. He should have tied a string around his finger.
No, lady. He already had one around his neck. Well, she went back to copping nickels, and I sat down in one of the plush chairs and waited. 10:30 came, 11 came, Benda didn't. I began to get an uneasy feeling, like a bubble dancer with a slow leak. At 11:10, I couldn't take any more waiting, so I left to head for Benda's place. Outside the bank, a thin guy with a sharp head was hawking papers. I slipped him the nickel that the blonde had given me, and he handed me a Daily News. I wanted to see what a horse named Larry R. had done at Belmont, but I didn't get beyond the first page. Benda's picture was there, right next to Governor Dewey's, only Ben wasn't running for office. They found him in his room full of bullet holes. I guess he finally got a cure for that cough. I took my car out of the lot and headed for home. I mixed myself a tall one, and I was just getting to the bottom of it when a couple of guys kicked my door open.
Regan?
Yeah.
I'm Lieutenant Anderson, homicide. This is Sergeant Pinelli.
Hi. Don't you guys believe in knocking?
My knuckles are sore. Nice stuff.
Well, help yourself. It's out in the kitchen.
Don't drink on the job.
Pinelli?
Me neither.
You boys should have told me you were coming. I'd have called some girls.
Not on the job.
Pinelli?
I got a wife.
All right, Regan, find your hat.
What for?
Well, you want to look nice. We're going downtown, you and me and Pete. Right, Pete?
Right, Andy.
No, it's too hot there.
We thought of that. We'll give you a nice, cool place, won't we, Pete?
Sure will, Andy.
You got a warrant?
No, we just figured you might want to tell us why you did it.
Did what?
Tell him, Pete.
Knock off Ben Bender and burn his feet.
You're out of your mind.
Regan, we know you saw Bender last night. We know you got out of a car on the corner and walked up to his place. We know you were the last one to see him while he was still alive.
You got a witness?
Pretty one. A girl told us.
Oh, you're trying real hard, Anderson, but you haven't got anything.
If you were the last one to see him alive, you're the first one to see him dead. That's how we figured.
Did you figure on a guy named Al Spandy who drives a black coupe?
I never heard of him.
And how about a dozen other hoods who knew Bender?
Now you're trying hard, Regan.
You haven't even got a foundation.
We got the whole building.
It'll never stand up.
We'll see.
All right, you tell me why I did it.
You private eyes get fooled as on bank jobs.
I get them from Charles Atlas, too.
Bender was in on an $80,000 heist 8 years ago. He went up for carrying a concealed weapon, but the money was never found. You know that the Imperial Bonding Company's offering $5,000 for the recovery of that dough.
You're lying.
Don't make any dates tonight. You're not going to be available.
All right. The Lion will tell you I was working on a case when I saw Bender.
Oh, we already talked to the Lion.
Well, what did he say?
He says he hasn't seen you for 5 days.
You are listening to the story of the man with the key, tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Commissions are still available in the Army Nurse Corps Reserve. If you were a graduate registered nurse between the ages of 21 and 45, you may be eligible for a commission in the Army Nurse Corps section of the Regular Officers Reserve. These commissions are still available, and those who meet the high standards and qualify may elect active or inactive status. Those who request inactive status will continue with their civilian nursing duties but stand ready to serve in time of emergency. Nurses who elect active duty become commissioned officers in the regular Army. If you believe you qualify for a commission in the Army Nurse Corps Reserve, apply to the Adjutant General, Washington, D.C. And now back to the story of the man with the key and Jeff Regan, Investigator.
Well, I had about as much chance as a violin player with no chin. Anderson and Pinelli took me down and locked me in one of the rooms upstairs. They didn't ask any questions. I guess they figured they had enough answers. Oh, it was a real nice fix. A dame named Dora King takes me to a con named Ben Bender. He slips me a hot key and says meet him in a bank at 10. I'm there on time, getting the phone number of a blonde named Claire, only Ben doesn't show. Somebody burns his feet and fogs him before he can keep the date. And then there's that black coupe registered to a question mark named Al Spandy. And then the Lion deals one from the bottom. Oh, it was a screwy picture, and I was right in the middle of the frame. Well, I spent the next 4 hours taking in some free entertainment from the drunk in the next cell.
Okay, Regan, on your feet.
Bastille Day?
You sprung.
Well, I was getting tired of the floor show anyway.
Try and make it Saturday sometimes. That's our big night.
Or if I bring a date?
I got a phone. My wife.
That guy ought to be at Ciro's.
Where do you think we picked him up?
Regan, I'm running out of patience with you. How many times have I told you to keep out of trouble?
Why didn't you tell him I was working on a case?
I went to a lot of trouble to get you out.
And you went to a lot of trouble to get me in.
That was easy. Still got that key to Bender's safety deposit box?
I got it.
Tomorrow morning at 10, you're at that bank getting into the box.
You're crazy. It's in Bender's name.
I'll teach you how to spell it.
I won't do it.
Homicide might like to know you got that key. Now, you listen to me and we'll both make dough.
Where I'd be, I couldn't spend it.
The $80,000 from the bank job Bender pulled happens to be in that box, like I think it is. Imperial Bonding owes us $5,000 reward.
I don't like it.
You owe it to the company.
Now listen, you. Bender was knocked off for this key. Whoever wants it might make another try.
Nobody knows you got it.
Well, I'll give it to you, and nobody will know you got it.
Regan, I'm giving you a chance to straighten yourself out.
That's right.
What do you mean?
I feel stiff already. Well, it was a triple play. Homicide to the Lion to the black coupe. I went home to wash off some of the jailhouse Lysol. When I walked in the front door, I had company. A gray flannel suit with a yellow tie was sitting on the edge of my bed. Both hands were full. The whiskey was mine. The gun was his. When he saw me, he set down the bottle and walked over and put the gun right against my neck. It felt cold, and I got kind of nervous, like a hula dancer in a forest fire.
Hiya, Regan. Been waiting for you.
You like my liquor?
I'm a rye drinker myself.
Well, bring your own next time.
That ain't being sociable.
You weren't invited.
Huh. How could I have been? You don't even know me.
You're Al Spandy. You drive a black coupe.
What'd I have for breakfast?
Egg, and it's all over your tie.
You look hot, Regan.
You have to hold that gun there.
Right there.
Same one you used on Bender?
The same. All right, now, gimme, Regan.
I told you, I don't have any rye.
Where's the key?
I don't use one. My door's always open.
I'm talking about that key you got from Bender.
I don't have it.
Do you hear any music?
Yeah, but I'll sit the next one out.
No, you won't. This is a men's cheat.
I'll step on your toes.
I don't mind. It's a polka, and I want to do it with you.
Oh, it was a long dance, but Spandy didn't get tired. I knew I wasn't going to last the evening out. And then I saw Dora King standing in the doorway back to Spandy. She was taking everything in like a Hoover vacuum cleaner on a dirty rug. She had a .25 in her hand, and she knew how to use it. Thanks for cutting in, lady.
I had to do it. He was killing you.
Yeah, I'll take the gun, huh?
You know I'd have to do it.
Yeah. Here. Go on, drink it.
Yes.
Now, you want to tell me all about it?
Yes. I wanted to tell you at first, but Ben wouldn't let me.
He's not around to stop you.
Do you think Spandy hurt him much before he killed him?
I wasn't there.
He was sick. He couldn't have taken much.
Why'd you tip the cops on me?
I thought you might have done it. Now I know different.
Tell that to Homicide.
I will.
You better. Spandy can't.
He's dead?
That's right.
You still don't trust me.
No, I don't.
I couldn't help myself once the gun went off. Big Ben was my father.
Yeah?
He didn't want anyone to know. All he wanted was to give me a break.
Why'd he hire me?
He was afraid.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Regan,
Yeah?
may I have the key?
I haven't got it.
You can get it.
Maybe? You know what's in that box?
I think so.
Or why don't I turn it over to the police?
That's my job. Like I told you. I'm Big Ben's daughter.
Yeah, lady. You convinced Spandy. Well, I called homicide, and Anderson and Pinelli handled it. We all wound up downtown. It didn't take them long to find out that the gun Spandy used on me was the same one that killed Big Ben. Dora gave Anderson her story. He said it would take some fixing, but he could keep her out of the papers. It was justifiable homicide. She wouldn't even be indicted, but they had to hold her overnight. Well, it was almost daylight when I pulled to a stop in front of my apartment. I was beginning to feel a little better, but it didn't last long. When I walked into my place, it looked like the L.A. Dons had been having a scrimmage. Every corner had been gone over. Oh, it didn't make sense. Bender was dead, Spandy was dead, Dora King was downtown, but somebody still wanted that key. Well, I crawled into what was left of my bed and set the alarm for 9:30. I didn't sleep much. I kept seeing keys and faces and $80,000 bills. Ten o'clock the next morning, Dragnet 3408 was still sitting behind the same desk near the same safety deposit vault. She gave me the same look.
I waited for you to call last night.
I spent the nickel.
On a doctor?
I'd like to get into my box.
All right, Mr. Bender, sign here.
All right. There you are.
This way.
Looks like part of the new freeway.
One thing about a vault, it's quiet.
So's a tomb.
We're alone.
Yeah.
Well?
All right, sunshine, open your eyes. My box number is 60B.
That can wait. I can't.
Easy, baby. You'll set off the alarm.
You and I can make a great team, Bender.
Now, you know my name's not Bender.
What is it?
Regan.
You and I can make a great team, Regan.
Is that what you told Al Spandy?
Why bring up a dead issue?
What's your deal?
You got Bender's key, I got the bank's key. You need both of them to open up the box.
It's good so far. Go on.
Oh, there's $80,000 there. Let's not let it go to waste.
Big Ben waited 7 years to open that box. Look what happened to him.
I waited just as long as Ben. And 7 years is harder on a girl.
How'd you work it?
Ben and I had a great plan. I was the cashier Ben heisted. Only I just gave him a bag full of paper. The real dough's in his box.
Well, that's the safest way. Keep your money in a bank.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And when it cooled off, both of you go in and pick up the dough together.
That's the way it was supposed to work, only Ben was dumb enough to get himself picked up and tucked away for 7 years.
Oh, you made real good partners. Nobody trusted anybody.
I trust you.
That why you went through my place looking for the key last night?
Girls got to use their head. Besides, you might have been home.
Ben and Spandy are dead.
We don't have to worry about either of them. The money's still here. And we got the keys that'll open the box. Can you add that?
Yeah?
What's the answer?
About 20 years.
What do you mean?
That bonding company will see that you get the full load for grand larceny.
You wouldn't turn me in.
Don't make book on that.
You and I'd make a great team, Regan. We can't lose.
That's what USC thought. Well, I called Anderson and Pinelli, and they came out and picked her up. I rode down as far as the office with them. That wrapped it up. When I told the Lion what had happened, he was as happy as a college boy in a harem. He got on the phone right away and called up Imperial Bonding, told him to make out that reward check for 5 G's to Anthony J. Lyon. But he was real good about it. He took me for a ride in his new Nash convertible. Well, I guess he deserved it. He was really the patsy that had done all the heavy work ever since he bailed me out of jail. Because that's when I slipped Bender's key in his pocket.
Jack Webb is featured as Jeff Regan with Herb Butterfield as Anthony J. Lyon. Jeff Regan, Investigator, written by E. Jack Newman and Larry Roman, produced by Sterling Tracy, is heard each week at this time over CBS. Tonight's cast included Ken Christie, Yvonne Patey, Marvin Miller, Paul Frees, and June Martell. If you are a graduate registered nurse, please listen carefully to this important message. 29,000 nurses are needed to join the new Army Nurse Corps Officers Reserve. All nurses who receive reserve commissions will benefit from the opportunity for specialized training offered to them by the Army. Inactive reserve status will not interfere with the nurse's civilian life, but the educational opportunities offered her by the Army Medical Department will be of great advantage. For further information, drop a card to the Adjutant General, Washington, D.C. Original music for this program is by Dick Arant. Bob Stevenson speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Here's another in NBC's great parade of new shows.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
NBC brings you Dragnet. Detective Sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A 22-year-old girl has disappeared. A letter has been received. It demands $30,000 for the girl's return. The letter is signed The Wolf. Your job, get him.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. Investigated and solved by the men who unrelentingly stand watch on the security of your home, your family, and your life. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case, transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
Tuesday, October 18th. It was cloudy in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Ed Backstrand, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. I was on the way back from the stats office, and it was 3:26 a.m. when I got to room 42. Homicide.
Got those mugs you asked for, Joe. Here they are.
Thanks, Harris. Backstrand leave yet?
In a minute. I'm going out with him. What's the address out there, the Sullivan place?
814 Castro Boulevard. You go straight out Santa Monica, take a left at Castro.
I remember. You ready, Chief?
Yeah, man. Friday, you call Romero yet?
Right now.
Get on it. This one we don't fool with.
Yeah.
Come on, Harris.
Hello?
Sorry to wake you, Ben. This is Joe. How you feeling?
Oh, hi, Joe. What time is it?
3:30 a.m. How do you feel?
Oh, a lot better. Be back to work tomorrow.
You'll be ready in 20 minutes? I'll pick you up.
20 minutes? Okay, what's up?
You remember Martin Sullivan, vice president of the Third National Bank?
Sullivan? Yeah, what about it?
He's got a 22-year-old daughter, or he had one. She's gone.
Made good time, Joe. Where are we headed?
Sullivan home out on Castro Boulevard. Ed's out there now with Harris.
Any leads to work on?
No, nothing so far. The girl disappeared a little before 1 o'clock yesterday afternoon. At 11 last night, he got a letter. They want $30,000.
Sullivan hasn't got that kind of money.
Yeah, I know it. Poor guy's almost out of his mind.
Fill me in. How did it happen?
Well, the guy took the girl out of business school. He had her called out of class. Told her father was sick, said he was a friend of the family.
Well, how about the teachers? What was their story?
Said the girl didn't want to go with the man at first, but he finally talked her into it. Kept telling her father was dying.
That's about as low as it come?
Yeah.
Did he use a car?
Witnesses said it was a blue sedan. They didn't get the license number or the make.
Did they remember what the guy looked like?
About 5'9", 160, brown suit, dark hair.
Nothing else?
No. Here's a copy of the letter. The usual. Read it.
Yeah. I have your daughter, Judy. Get, what's that?
$30,000.
$30,000 quick if you want her back alive. Don't call police or I'll kill her. Contact you later. Signed, what is it?
The Wolf.
Oh, Wolf.
I could think of a better name. Come on, here we are.
Who's got the original note, Joe?
Lee Jones down at the crime lab. He's checking it for prints and handwriting.
Well, if it was... Oh, hi, David. Right on the house, boys. Just waiting for you.
Thanks, Dave.
Hi, Joe. Ben.
In the living room.
Thank you.
That's the way I see it, Mr. Sullivan. Now, you understand exactly what you have to do?
Yes, sir. I'll do as you say.
All right. Here are the two men who will help you. Sergeant Friday and Sergeant Romero, homicide.
Yes, sir. How do you do?
How do?
Mr. Backstrand, are you sure about all this? He might get frightened. He might do something to Judy.
Believe me, Mr. Sullivan, it's the only way. I know how you must feel, but we can't do anything else.
Oh, all right. I want to see Mrs. Sullivan first. I'll be ready in a moment.
Any developments?
Yeah. Come on back in the dining room. There it is on the table. Second note from the guy.
Telegram.
When'd this come?
About half an hour ago. Guy phoned it into Western Union from a public booth. Couldn't trace it.
I'll say, Joe.
Yeah. Be at Elysian Park, 5 o'clock this morning, near Balkan Drive. Come alone. Bring 30,000. Will return girl. Don't tell cops. Kill her if you do. The Wolf.
4 a.m. now, Skipper. Not much time.
I know it. We'll have to do as he says. No other way.
Then Sullivan's going out there alone?
You're going with him. You and Romero. You'll be hidden out in the trunk of the car.
Any plan?
Get it. That's all.
Ben and I went out the back door and into the Sullivan garage. We jammed ourselves into the trunk compartment, and Harris closed the door on us. The latch was fixed so that the door could be pushed open from the inside. A few minutes later, Mr. Sullivan came out, got in the car, and we drove off. At 3 minutes to 5, we pulled up at the meeting place in Elysian Park. We waited. Nothing happened. At 5 minutes past 5, it started to thunder.
That's all we need now. Thunderstorm.
Stuff in here. This trunk, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Ben, listen. Sullivan?
Must be. Have we seen anything?
Sounds like he's pacing up and down alongside the car, doesn't it?
Now, listen. Can't hear anything else. Can you?
No. We better stay under cover.
Yeah. The rain's starting in. Wonder what happened to the wolf.
Cold feet, maybe. Let's wait it out.
Joe.
Yeah?
What time you got now?
Move over a little, me and my watch it.
Yeah.
A little past 5:30.
Sergeant.
Mr. Sullivan?
Yes. Do you think he's coming? It's late. It's getting daylight.
We better wait it out, Mr. Sullivan. Now, look, don't come back here again. If he's watching, you might tip him off.
Oh, all right. All right.
Poor guy.
Joe.
I hear it. Coming up the road toward us.
It's stopping.
Yeah. Coming over to our car. You ready?
Right. You're talking with Sullivan.
They're coming back here. Now watch it.
Brandy. Romero.
That's you, Ed?
Yeah, the meeting's off. Come on out.
All right.
Got a cramp in my leg.
I'm cramped all over.
Mr. Sullivan, drive back home. We'll contact you there.
All right, Chief.
Ben, Joe, come on over to the car.
What's the story, Ed?
The guy had no intention of following through with this meeting tonight.
Well, how come?
He told us. Going at 5 o'clock. Tried to trace the call. He wouldn't stay on the line long enough.
What do you have to say?
He wanted more money. Bragged about how smart he was. How we'd never get him.
Well, he knows Sullivan's called in the police.
Sure. Said he didn't care. We'd never get him anyway.
Yeah, pretty cocky.
Pretty smart. Take my word for it. He's no dummy.
Control 1 to 80K. Control 1
I'll get it. 80K to Control 1. 80K to Control 1. Go ahead.
80K, go to your office. Code 3. Go to your office. Code 3. Dear Major 6.
All right, Romero. Let's roll.
More than 12 hours had passed since word of Judy Sullivan's disappearance had been phoned in a homicide. During that time, an all-points bulletin containing the descriptions of the suspect, his car, and the girl had been sent out on the teletype to law enforcement agencies throughout the area. The same descriptions were broadcast over the police radio every hour. The Sullivan home had been placed under strict surveillance, and Mr. Sullivan instructed not to contact the suspect without knowledge of the police. He'd raised almost $10,000 in cash to buy him off. The serial number on each one of the bills had been copied by a police stenographer and then rechecked by a homicide officer. So far, the Wolf, as he called himself, had made 3 separate contacts, but he'd covered his tracks well. We knew that he was somewhere in the city, 500 square miles of it, and we knew we had to find him fast. It was 18 minutes past 6 when we got back to homicide.
Hi, Chief. Fellas.
You got something for us, Mac?
Here, this letter. Special delivery. Came in about 25 minutes ago.
Can I see that, Mike? Stay away from Sullivan. If the kid's found dead, it's your fault. Stay away, the Wolf.
All right, Mike. Get it over to the crime lab and have Lee check it for prints.
Right, Chief.
Will you find any prints on the second note, Mike?
2. Run them through R&I now.
Friday, Romero. Get down there and see if they got a make.
Right, Ed. Let's go, Ben.
Who's watching the Sullivan house beside Harry?
Carpenter and Davis. Baxter's afraid the girl's father will try to make a deal with the guy.
Has he tried it yet?
No, he hasn't yet. You couldn't blame him if he did. Word's sake.
Oh, yeah.
Here we are.
Hi, fellas. Just coming down to see you. You got something there?
Those 2 prints Lee Jones listed off that letter got a make on them from the single print file.
Good, Larry. Let's see, huh?
There it is. Pull the whole package on them. Donald Alfred Kiefer. Looks like a real bad one, doesn't he?
Donald Alfred Kiefer, male, Caucasian, age 29, 5 feet 8 inches, 170 pounds, brown eyes, dark brown hair. He had 1 previous arrest for forgery in Los Angeles 10 months before. Kiefer's occupation at the time of his arrest was listed as bank clerk at the Third National Bank. Ben went back into the files and pulled the crime report. Then we called Ed Backstrand.
There's the answer, Skipper. At the time Kiefer pulled that forgery job at the bank, Mr. Sullivan was one of the vice presidents.
Go on.
Sullivan was the one who preferred charges against Kiefer and saw that he was prosecuted.
Where's this Kiefer now?
Let me see. He was placed on probation, and on May 16th this year, he returned to his home in Omaha, Nebraska. That's 1380 Mackinac Avenue.
All right, Romero. Get Omaha on the phone and have them check out Kiefer.
Right, Skipper.
Friday, take Kiefer's package and this note down to Don Myers. Have him check the handwriting. Then get over to the crime lab and see what Jones lifted off that last letter we got.
All right, Ed.
The faster we work, the faster we'll put this guy behind bars. Now move.
How's the writing compared, Don? What'd you find?
Yeah, looks good. See here? Slants as crosses, double oops as L's, open A's, pressure on the downstroke. Donald Kiefer, Wolf, same handwriting.
Lifted 3 prints off this last note, Joe. Brought them out with the iodine fume gun. They match with the first.
Thanks, Lee. Did you find anything else?
I don't know if it'll help you much. We examined the paper for watermarks and texture. Both notes are written on the same kind of paper. Impressions show both pieces of paper from the same tablet. Checked the density of the carbon and the pencil he used. Both specimens match. Same pencil.
By mid-afternoon, Donald Kiefer's description had been broadcast throughout the area. Bulletins were dispatched to all departments, and an APB was teletyped to the entire state. Men were stationed at every post office in the city to watch for notes that might come through the mail. The bus depots, railroad terminals, the airports, and all the main roads leading out of the city were under strict surveillance. The entire Los Angeles area was broken down into single square-mile districts, and a house-to-house canvass was started. A squad of men were assigned to cover each square mile. Outlying towns and cities were requested to do the same. By 5 o'clock that afternoon, the greatest Dragnet operation in the history of the city was underway. We were sure Donald Kiefer was somewhere inside. At 12 minutes past 5, Ben got the call back from the Omaha police.
Yeah, I got it. 6 X-ray 419. Nebraska plate, right. Well, thank you a lot. Yeah, bye.
They had a make on the car.
Lots more. The Omaha cops looking for Kiefer, too. Want him for a robbery there 2 months ago.
Yeah?
In that robbery, used a stolen 1939 blue sedan. Nebraska license plate, 6 X-ray 419.
How about his family and his friends back there? They all been checked?
Yeah.
Well, get that car description to communications, huh? APB, teletype, and broadcast. I'll tell Ed.
Yeah, right, Jim.
Right in, Romero.
Yeah.
What are you tied up with?
Well, just got a call from Omaha. Make on Kiefer in the car.
Give it to me. You two get out to the Sullivan house fast as you can. See Harris.
What's happened, Skipper?
Martin Sullivan's disappeared.
All right, Harris, how'd it happen?
About 3 this afternoon, Mr. Sullivan got a phone call. Said he had to go down to the bank. I went with him. He had me wait in the reception room, and he went in his office. After waiting 10 minutes, I got suspicious and went in. He was gone. That's it.
Did he get any more money?
This morning, $5,000.
Did you get the serial numbers off the bills?
Yeah. Shouldn't have let him get out of my sight.
Forget it. Right now, we've got to find out where he's gone to meet Kiefer.
Did you talk to Mrs. Sullivan about it, Harris?
She says she doesn't know anything about it.
Let's try her again. Come on, let's go inside.
All right, fellas.
All right. Where's Miss Sullivan, Dave?
Back in the sitting room, lying down. Doctor's with her.
Come on. What time you got, Ben?
6:35.
I'll get it. Hello? Where are you? Oh. Where are you now? Where are you now? We'll be right out. That was Martin Sullivan. He met with Kiefer up in Laurel Canyon.
Did he get his daughter back?
Yeah. Wrapped in newspapers. All cars in the area were notified that a contact had been made with Kiefer. We got in the car and drove out to Laurel Canyon. The entire area had been blocked off. We found Martin Sullivan standing in the middle of the road at the end of East Winding Way. 500 feet down the hill was a private residence where Sullivan had telephoned us. It was the only building in the immediate vicinity. A few yards beyond the point where the East Winding Way ended, back in a clump of tall grass, we found the body of Martin Sullivan's daughter. We notified the crime lab, Chief Backstrand in the coroner. Despite a severe state of emotional shock, Martin Sullivan tried to tell us the story.
He said Judy was all right. I believed him. I wanted her back. Judy. I tricked the officer, the one watching me. He said, come along, no police.
Did you see his car, Mr. Sullivan?
I wanted her back. I wanted Judy back. I did as he said. I drove here at 6 o'clock and I waited. I put the money on the front seat like he said.
Did he get the money, Mr. Sullivan?
And I got out, left parking lights on. I stood up there by the end of the road, waiting.
Mr. Sullivan.
And he drove up. He took the money. Then he came up to me. He had a gun. I wanted Judy back. He had a gun.
Did you see his car?
He said she was up there, beyond the road, tied to a tree. I wanted her back.
Mr. Sullivan, did you see his car?
I went to look for Judy. He drove away. She wasn't there. By the tree. Couldn't find her. On the way back, I saw her bundle on the way back. Let me find her.
Before he went into a state of complete collapse, we showed Martin Sullivan a picture of Donald Alfred Kiefer. He definitely identified him. The information was immediately relayed back to Central Division, rebroadcast to the entire police radio system. A teletype was dispatched to sheriff's offices, and communications were sent to police stations throughout the country. The house-to-house search throughout the entire city intensifying. The dragnet in which we hoped to trap Donald Kiefer was drawing slowly inward. It was 12 midnight.
Sullivan girl murder. Next street. Read all about it. Citizens join search for killer.
Friday, did the papers get a list of the numbers on that ransom money?
Yeah, got them in the final night edition. 2.5 pages of serial numbers. Gave it a big spread.
Look at these pictures of Kiefer here, all over the front page.
The more the better, Romero. I hope this town never forgets that face. Good reminder. You don't make deals with killers.
Hi, fellas. Come on over.
Find anything yet, Lee?
Just checking over these towels here. Found them wrapped around the girl's body, inside the papers. Funny thing about those papers.
What's that, Lee?
They're all yesterday's. Every story about the girl's disappearance has been clipped out.
Maybe the guy's making up a scrapbook.
How about the towels, Jones? Any laundry marks?
Not a one so far, Ed. Every one of them was clipped off. Pretty smart. The morgue post the body in?
They're doing it now.
Nasty one.
Yeah. Did you get any footprints or tire marks out where they found the body?
Lots of them, all cast. Bossy and Taylor are checking them now. One, think.
What is it, Jones?
I don't know. Under the seam here. This towel. Wait a minute. Joe, that pair of snippers there.
Yeah. Here you are.
Thanks. Just back under the seam. There. That's one tag he missed.
Any markings, Lee?
Yeah. Greenway Apartments, Los Angeles.
One look at the apartment was enough. In an adjoining garage, we found the car which Kiefer had used, a blue sedan. Nebraska license plate 6X-ray 419. When we got back to the office, Chief Backstrand immediately issued a cancellation of the want order for the blue sedan, and then he ordered a detail of men to stake out the car in the event Kiefer decided to come back for it.
Here's the coroner's report, Joe.
Oh, let's see it. Cause of death, strangulation. Time of death, Monday, October 18th, approximately 2 p.m.
1 hour after he grabbed her?
That can't be right.
Skipper in his office?
No, he's out for a minute.
Hey, Joe, Ben, take the call off 2503, will you?
Thanks, Mike. Right. Would you give me the call on 2503, please? Thanks. Hello? Yeah. Yeah, when? We'll be right over. Some of the ransom money, Ben, just showed up. Beverly and Highland. Come on. The man's name was Ralph Donahue. He operated a used car lot on the corner of Beverly and Highland. He told us that early that morning he sold a dark blue late model coupe to a man who gave his name as Fred Sims. The man paid for the car in cash. Donahue told us that he checked the serial numbers on the bills after the man had driven away.
Serial numbers check out, Joe, every one of them.
If I only thought to look, officer, and you know I generally do. I'm the suspicious kind anyway, but, this morning I must have been asleep.
You got the full description on the car, Ben?
Yeah, Joe.
All right, let's get it on the air right away.
I saw his mug in the paper while I was waiting for you. Too late. Sorry.
Yeah, thanks. At 10 minutes past 3 that afternoon, another piece of the ransom money turned up at a busy downtown department store. The clerk was unable to remember who gave her the bill. The detail throughout the general downtown area was strengthened. The house-to-house search of the entire city for Judy Sullivan's murderer went on. The afternoon dragged into the early evening. At 20 minutes to 7, Ben and I had a hamburger and a cup of coffee in the drugstore at East Broadway and 3rd. And then we got back in the car, checked with communications, and started cruising the neighborhood again. At 9 minutes to 8, a man answering the description of Donald Kiefer was seen crossing Sunset Boulevard just below Highland. 7 minutes later, the same man was reported near the intersection of Hollywood Boulevard and Las Palmas. Communications relayed the information. At 21 minutes past 8, our car, 80K, along with a dozen others, were concentrated in the Hollywood Boulevard area, from Gower Street to La Brea, Franklin Avenue to Santa Monica Boulevard. At 24 minutes past 8, another piece of the ransom money was passed at a cigar store on the corner of Hollywood Boulevard and Hawthorne Street. The number of men and radio cars in the area was redoubled. Plainclothes officers were stationed at every intersection to keep an eye on pedestrian traffic. At 18 minutes to 9, The dark blue coupe, which Kiefer had bought that morning, was spotted parked in an alley just below Hollywood Boulevard in Cahuenga. We called Ed Backstrand.
City Hall.
2503.
2503.
Chief of Detectives, Office, Allen.
This is Friday, Mike. Chief there?
Yeah, wait a minute. Just going out the door. Ed, it's for you. Backstrand?
Friday, Ed. Just spotted Kiefer's car, the one he bought this morning, parked in an alley off Cahuenga.
Harris and I are on our way up there now. We'll take care of the car. You take care of this call. Just came in.
What do you got?
The theater on the corner of Hollywood Boulevard and Fairview. The girl in the box office just took in a $10 ransom bill.
Yeah?
She got a good look at the man who passed the bill. She says it's Kiefer.
All right, Ben, come on.
Yeah. You got the list of serial numbers?
Right here. Let's check at the window.
Yes, sir. How many, please?
Police officers. Sergeant Romero, Sergeant Friday.
Oh, yes, sir. Mr. Regan, the police are here. Would you step around to the side door, Sergeant?
Yes, ma'am.
Margie, relieve Francis for a minute. Francis, come here. Bring that $10 bill with you.
Sharp girl, officer, that Francis. Sharp.
Here it is, Mr. Regan.
All right, Sergeant. There you are. $10 bill and the list of serial numbers.
Check out all right, Ben?
That's it, Joe. Good work, man.
You reported the man came in about a half hour ago. You're sure it was Kiefer?
Yes, sir. I had his picture in the box office just behind the change machine. I recognized him right away.
And as far as you know, he hasn't left the theater.
That's right, sir.
All right, Mr. Rayburn, I'm sorry. I'm afraid we'll have to interrupt the show.
Anything you say, Sergeant. Anything.
Ben, you keep an eye on the front exit. I'll call communications.
All right, Joe.
80K to Control 4. 80K to Control 4.
80K, go ahead.
Control 4, clear all frequencies. The Sullivan murder suspect, Donald Kiefer, has been located in the theater on the southeast corner of Hollywood Boulevard and Fairview. Have all units surround the area.
80K, roger. Attention all units. Attention all units. Assist 80K at the theater on the southeast corner of Hollywood Boulevard and Fairview. The Sullivan murder suspect has been located in the theater. Go ahead, 80K.
Control 4, have all units converge in the general area, Hollywood Boulevard and Fairview. Unit 62R to block off the intersection at Hollywood Boulevard and North Cherokee. Stop all pedestrian and vehicular traffic. Unit 61A to block the intersection at Hollywood Boulevard and Hudson Street. Stop all pedestrian and vehicular traffic. Unit 71 and 72R to block the alley behind the theater. Unit 66 and 67R to assist at main entrance to the theater. Within a few minutes, the 1/2 mile area around the theater was completely blockaded. Every exit and entrance to the theater was covered. At 9:23, we met Harris and Ed Backstrand in the theater manager's office. Backstrand outlined our plan of operation. At 9:28, a detail of 14 men walked down the side aisles on the main floor of the theater and took up their posts on either side of the orchestra pit. The picture was stopped and every light in the theater was turned on. Ed Backstrand, Harris, Ben, and I went down the aisle and up onto the stage. Backstrand made the announcement.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're sorry to interrupt the picture, but this is important. We're police officers. We've traced the murderer of Judy Sullivan to this theater. He is in this theater now. And we're going to search the theater row by row, and we'd like to ask your cooperation. There's no need to be panicky or afraid. Those who wish to leave now may do so. Leave by the main entrance. Each one of you will be checked as you go out the door. And for the benefit of the man we're looking for, don't try to escape. Every exit is covered and the entire area is blockaded. Don't place any more lives in jeopardy.
Come on, Ben.
Backstage, Joe. We can make it from there.
All right, let's go. Come on, hustle it, Ben.
Yeah. The next building. You'll probably try to jump for it.
All right, watch it. I think this door leads out to the roof.
There he goes.
All right, keeper, hold it.
Don't shoot. I give up. Throw your gun down. Over here.
Don't shoot. Don't.
Let's get him.
All right, coppers. I got it figured. They won't top me for this. Didn't know what I was doing.
Put the cuffs on him, Ben.
Get away from me, you crump!
You shouldn't have hit him, Keeper. All right, Ben. Try the cuffs now.
Yeah.
Come on, let's get him in out of the rain.
What's the hurry?
Why spoil a good rain?
Just heard is true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
Donald Alfred Kiefer was tried and convicted of murder in the first degree. He was executed in the lethal gas chamber at the state penitentiary. You
You have just heard the 15th in a new series of authentic cases transcribed from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Acting Chief of Police, W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Tonight's program is dedicated to Deputy United States Marshal John B. Glenn of Boise, Idaho, who on the morning of July 31st, 1940, gave his life so that yours might be more secure. Dragnet came to you from Los Angeles. Theater Guild on the Air returns tomorrow night on NBC.
Novak, for hire.
Sure, I'm Pat Novak. For hire. That's what the sign out in front of my office says. Pat Novak for hire. It's an easy way to put it, because if you're going to make a living down on the waterfront in San Francisco, you got to do everything but run for office. I rent boats and kick around a few scruples if the price is right. It's a living, and if anything goes wrong, you can always get your mother a visitor's pass. If you do get in trouble, you go first class all the way. I found that out when I first met Doreen Wilde. It was almost dark, and I was sitting in the office with the door open when she first showed up. Showed up's the right word. The wind was blowing outside and pushed her dress tightly against her legs as she walked in. She was young. From what I could see, she made Cleopatra look like Apple Mary. She had a voice like a bowl of warm stew.
Hello. Are you Mr. Novak?
That's my story.
I'm Doreen Wilde. Mind if I sit down? On your desk here?
You'll block the view.
You'll get used to the new one. There. Now lean back and let me look at you. I want to hire you, Mr. Novak.
After the look or before?
You've got a power complex, darling. You know a man named Joe Candono?
Oh, he's a gambler out on Geary Street. Friend of yours?
I don't dislike him that much. We have business connections. That's why I want to hire you. To give him some money tonight.
A needy case or a bad debt?
A bad debt. Candono has an IOU from my brother for $10,000. You can go from there.
Not if I'm supposed to say it was a fixed game. Candono's been around a long time.
Yes?
That's right. There are only two kinds of gamblers in this town, honest ones and dead ones. So if your brother owes $10,000, he better pay.
That's why I'm hiring you. Just pay off Candono and make sure you get the pictures.
Pictures of the Grand Canyon, huh?
We'll talk about my past some other time.
Well, for the moment, we'll just say you're photogenic.
That's right.
Your brother can't get the $10,000, so Candono's shaking you down.
Yes.
Yeah. I'll bet you make a nice rattle. How did Candono get the pictures?
My brother gave them to him.
You got a charming brother.
You see only his better side. Will you do the job for $100?
How long's it going to take?
2 hours, maybe. You'll have to meet with my brother.
To meet with your brother, $100 is coolie wages.
He'll give you the information, then you can see Candono.
Where do I meet your brother?
Room 729, the Dixie Hotel. He'll be there about 8:30.
That packing crate down on Powell Street? Your brother's a cutie. I know winos that wouldn't go in there.
We'll meet you there at 8:30.
Oh? You going to be there?
Yeah. Do you mind?
I can stand it.
Do you carry a spare battery for that gleam in your eye?
Your $100 covers that, too. See you at 8:30. She smiled at me, and I felt like a guy that just found an oil well in the basement. Well, there were a lot of things about the deal I didn't like, but she kind of made you forget. I kept remembering her as she walked out of there with a slow, easy gait. She had knee action that'd make a Nash jealous. Well, I hit the Dixie Hotel about 8:25. It was the kind of a hotel that has a 4 a.m. checkout rule. There were 2 or 3 guys sitting around reading tip sheets, and over in the corner, a couple of well-upholstered gals were talking about recipes, I guess. The desk clerk was the worst of the lot. He looked like a guy that might have been expelled from Alcatraz. Nobody looked up as I walked through. When I got to 729, I knocked. There was no answer, so I opened the door and walked in. There was a bed lamp on and a lot of smoke in the room. Through the smoke, I could pick out the committee. They were crazy about me.
Come on in. Looking for someone?
Yeah, but she's got a better figure than you.
Close the door.
No, she's not here. I'll just run along.
Close the door, mister.
You need the ventilation.
I said close the door. Now sit down. Sit down on the bed there.
You're a tough host.
So I'm broken-hearted. Just be a good boy now and give it to me, huh?
You got the wrong guy.
You give it to me fast, mister.
I don't know what you're talking about. I came up here to meet somebody.
Already met him.
I've run across better people in sewers. Now, look, meathead, I'm only going to say this once more, so make a copy. You got the wrong guy. You think I got something? I haven't got it.
No?
No, so you and your playmates swing out of here in your tails. I never saw you until 3 minutes ago, and I'm tired of the friendship already.
All right. Eddie.
Yeah?
Go through this guy's coat.
Yeah, sure.
Now, wash your hands, Junior, and then put them in your own pockets.
Oh. You got a favorite profile, fella? Because I'm going to put this gun on one side. Take your choice. Grab him, hold him up. All right, Eddie. Now you don't have to wash your hands.
I woke up with a head the size of Rhode Island. I rolled over and tried to get up, but I was about as strong as a moth in a wind tunnel. The room was dark, and I couldn't see very well. There was a stale, musty odor. Could have been a marathon dancer's dressing room. With a little fixing up, the sort of place you wouldn't be found dead in. There was a guy lying next to me who didn't feel that way about it. One look at the guy, and I could see he was dead from the crew cut down. Somebody wrapped a towel around his throat and forgot to say when. I should have got out of there right then, but I used my brain like a bottle of medicine, a small dose every 3 hours. I stood there, looking down at him, and felt like a guy that's just rolled a 7 the second time out. A small chunk of light squeezed through the door, and I could see particles of dust settling on his face. He was lying there, straight and white-faced, with a little bit of scowl, as if he didn't like the idea. I went through his wallet and found a few bucks and some identification. Enough to prove he was Frank Wilde, Doreen's brother. Oh, it looked nice and clear. They'd done everything but pin the IOU on his shirt. Well, I couldn't wait around because when Homicide got there, I was going to be as popular as a can of salmon on Friday. Homicide meant Inspector Hellman, a guy that couldn't even make the Vice Squad. We were as close as a piccolo and a bass trombone. I got to thinking about him and decided to get out of there. It was a good idea 5 minutes ago.
Hello, Novak.
Oh, Hellman.
Small wake, huh?
Just a few close friends. You always drop by room 729 this time of night?
I got a bad memory for faces. Who's your friend?
His name's Frank Wilde.
That's one answer.
I was supposed to meet him here at 8:30.
That's another. You got a third? Who killed him?
I don't know, Hellman. Maybe 3 or 4 people. Maybe a pack of lugs from Joe Candono's.
Yeah? I think you're modest, Novak. I think maybe you killed him.
Oh, yeah, sure. I wrapped the towel around his neck, beat myself to death with a pistol, and jumped into the same grave.
Maybe.
Oh, stop it, Hellman. That isn't smart.
That still leaves you in the running.
I came up here to make $100. That's all I know about it. Check down at the desk. They'll tell you.
I checked on the way up.
The desk clerk says room 729 is in your name.
Get your dough back, Hellman. You've been hijacked.
Yeah?
Look up a gal named Doreen Wilde.
Who's she?
The stiff's sister. He got in a jam with Joe Candono and bailed himself out with some pictures.
Oh. What kind of pictures?
You just look her up and find out where she was at 9 o'clock tonight.
I got a bird in the hand.
And call on Joe Candono. His Gunsel's held a convention here tonight.
That's too much legwork. You're handy, Novak.
I can't afford a bum rap, Hellman. Get yourself another boy.
You get me one. Your hotel room, there's a dead guy in it, and you got a bad record. I can make that add up for the DA.
You can't add a pair of zeros without crib notes, Hellman.
I can try hard, and I'll be all through in 24 hours. That's how long you got, Novak. You got one day, and you're not going to be lonesome. Because I'm going to put a tail on you the whole time.
Well, that'll be fun.
I'm going to know where you are every minute.
Stop posing, will you? You couldn't follow an elephant across a basketball court.
Just stay handy, Novak. I'll be ready. I'm going to fingerprint this room and run that towel through a test. And then I'll be ready.
Yeah, you better watch out for that towel.
Huh?
Remember, when it comes to towels, Hellman, you have to start from scratch. Well, when I left, Hellman was smiling like an Academy Award winner. I didn't blame him, because from my side of the road, things looked rough. From here in, he could play a pat hand and come out all right. There were only two other people, Joe Candono and that girl. I was real worried, so I looked up the only honest guy I know, an ex-doctor and a boozer by the name of Jocko Madigan. Oh, he was all right for a guy who tries to drink all the whiskey in the world every night, only some night he's going to make it. I finally found him at the Bellevue Hotel, holed up in the hunt room. He was getting the most he could out of a bottle, old whiskey and young ideas. It was 10 o'clock, and he was carrying a bigger load than the Berlin airlift.
Oh-ho! A drink for Mr. Novak. And one for me. I'll have to catch up.
Skip me. You busy, Jocko?
I'm deep in the labor of love. What happened to your face?
I got a better offer. I'm in a jam, Jocko. You got to help me.
You're always in a jam. You're the eternal patsy. Also, you're my solitary reason for going on.
Forget it, Jocko.
Well, you're the last project Providence has allowed me. An hors d'oeuvre that fate has thrown me to nibble on. I'm your conscience, you know.
Yeah, all right.
You have no conscience of your own. Oh, you have fleeting moments of fright which you confuse as moral sense, but no conscience.
All right, let's get off the platform, shall we? I need help, quick.
What kind of jam? A big one?
Yeah. I woke up about an hour ago holding hands with a dead man.
Where?
Room 729 at the Dixie Hotel.
I hope you changed rooms.
Hellman walked in and found me praying for the dead. He's got an idea I did it.
A shrewd policeman.
That was the second feature. We opened with a pistol whipping by Joe Candono's Gunsels. Oh, you got to help me.
Would a drink help?
Hellman's got a guy tailing me. I got to go slow, Jocko. I want you to hit Candono's place and pick up every scrap of dope, will you?
I'd look out of place in a gambling joint.
There's a bar. Tour the joint and find out when the boys got back, huh?
Where do you plan to be? Hiding under a rose bush?
I'm going up to see a girl. She's the dead guy's sister.
Are you going up to extend sympathy?
She's mixed up, too. Candono's holding some blackmail pictures.
Let's reverse the assignment.
Now, look, you see Candono. I'll tag by Doreen Wilde's place.
Huh? She must be Harry Wilde's daughter.
Who's he?
The money crowd, to use a low term.
What's he like?
A retired octopus. After he got sick of chasing cigarette girls, he settled down to be a social worker.
Yeah?
Now he's like all social workers. A guy who's embarrassed because he wasn't born poor. And for years, he's been annoying the poor by trying to help them.
Hit Candono's place. Now, if you hit anything good, phone me at her apartment. And keep out of trouble.
Well, I'd say the same to you if it weren't futile. Good night, lover.
When I walked out, Geary Street was cold and deserted. The fog had moved in and staked out a claim all the way down to Market Street. There were two Marines across the street arguing, so I didn't hear it at first. When I got out of range, I began to hear the footsteps behind me. I stopped once, and the footsteps broke off. I walked on a few yards, and the footsteps were right behind me. They had a familiar ring, and I was sure it was either Hellman or a water buffalo. When I stopped and waited, Hellman walked up.
You're out late, Novak.
What happened to that tail? Did he ask for more dough?
I put our best man on it. Where are you going?
Well, now, I'll bet you get some real good answers on that question.
Where you going, smart boy?
Doreen Wilde's apartment.
Yeah, why?
To find out where she was at 9 o'clock tonight?
It won't do you any good.
Why?
Coroner's report. The guy got knocked off about 7 o'clock tonight.
Well, he took a long time dying.
That towel was a joke. If he wasn't strangled, he would have been red-faced. He wasn't.
Oh, well, now, let me guess, Hellman. He died of lingering malaria.
Yeah, he was poisoned. That means he was dead when you brought him in.
Oh, that changes things, doesn't it?
A little. Don't let me keep you, Novak. I'm busy anyway.
Yeah?
Yeah. Checking your alibi for 7 o'clock.
I had no alibi for 7 o'clock. That was right after the girl left my office. Oh, I might be able to dig up a witness, but I wasn't sure. It's like asking a horse if he's going to win the Derby. Well, the questions were piling up, so I dropped by Doreen Wilde's apartment. I began to wonder. It was right next door to Candono's place. When she opened the door, I thought out what the right kind of breakfast food will do. She was wearing a slack suit without much slack, and she was swaying slightly in a warm, slow way. Well, if there was any rhythm there, it's the kind you hear 1,000 miles down the Amazon. And when she said hello, you knew it was all chemistry.
Hello, Mr. Novak.
I missed you at room 729.
This'll do just as well. Come in.
Yeah.
You're wearing your face a different style.
Yeah, Candono's boys didn't like it the old way.
I like it. I like it very much.
Yeah, what happened to you tonight?
Frank was supposed to pick me up. He didn't come by.
I see. Your brother finally showed up at the hotel.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. He paid off that IOU.
Is that a quaint way of telling me he's dead?
I suppose. Oh, don't sob so loud. You'll wake the neighbors.
You know by this time that to me Frank was a poor excuse at best. Nothing more. Besides, I knew he was dead. Father's down there now identifying the body.
Just for the record, who has those pictures now?
Candono, I suppose.
His boys piled me tonight looking for something. I got the idea it wasn't my Social Security number.
Oh, you've had a busy evening.
Yeah, they're going to book me for Frank's murder. Just call me Patsy.
You need a drink then, darling.
It can wait. Now, look, you're going to save some time if you tell me right now.
No, I didn't kill Frank. I'd be willing to contribute to a shrine for the man who did.
How about Candono?
I don't know. In fact, I don't know Mr. Candono. Thirsty yet?
Yeah, go ahead.
Patsy, I'll give you $5,000 to find out who killed Frank.
Hmm?
Oh, I'll admit it was a good idea killing him, but I want to see the family name cleared up.
Why don't you change names? That's easier.
Oh, don't be crude. Will you do it?
I may hang, and you can save your $5,000.
Here's your drink. The money might help. Should we call it a bargain?
Suit yourself.
You don't want to stand there balancing that drink.
No.
That's it. Sit down. You know, you're an interesting guy, Patsy. I like you.
Yeah?
Yes, don't snowball the statement.
Why'd you make it then?
It seems safe enough.
You sure?
You're a little close, Patsy.
Are you sure?
At this point, I don't care.
Come here, baby.
Patsy.
What's on your mind?
Where I can buy a desert island cheap.
Looks like you got an offer.
Father, he's forgotten his key. Excuse me. Come on over, Father. I want you to meet Mr. Novak.
Mr. Novak?
Yeah, they think I killed your son. Hi.
He's the one I told you about.
Oh, yes. Yes, now I remember.
It's probably for me. Hello? Oh, yes. I think so. I'll be right there. I've got to run, darlings. Only be gone a while. Father, keep Mr. Novak sober, I'll pick up from there. Good night, Father. See you soon, Patsy.
A remarkable girl.
She's active, too. Does she always sail out for a night camp?
A remarkable girl.
More so than Frank?
I'm afraid so.
You seem to like him better dead.
Well, at least he's more harmless that way. But perhaps that sounds unbecoming of a father.
Well, if he looks better that way, suit yourself.
I've never made any attempt to camouflage my feelings. I'm fond of my daughter. And my son, I've loathed, in a casual way. He's a mishap of nature which for years I've been content to blame on his mother. This matter of the gambling debts, case in point.
You know about that?
Oh, yes. Plus Doreen's liberal contribution to the problem. By the way, Mr. Novak, who did kill him?
I thought maybe you did.
No. I'm not a doer. I just cheer from the grandstand. Excuse me. Hello? It's for you, Mr. Novak.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello, Patsy. I'm down at Candono.
I know that. What'd you find out?
Never played 2 and 8 on a roulette wheel.
All right, drop the clowning.
Well, I found out about your friends.
Yeah?
They came in about 10 o'clock, so that puts them right in line.
No, not anymore. The guy got knocked off at 7 o'clock.
Oh, impatient, wasn't he? In that case, you better start looking for a tie-up between the girl and Candono.
Not a chance.
No?
She doesn't even know Candono.
She makes friends very quickly then, because she just walked into his office.
Well, things were beginning to fall into place. If the girl and Candono were that chummy, they were using those pictures. To squeeze the old man, probably. There was only one thing about it that didn't make sense. Why did Candono's boys beat my brains out if he had the pictures all along? Well, I talked to the old man a while, and then I headed for Candono's joint. They were closed when I got there, so I went home to bed. Oh, I'd have given a good price if tomorrow never rolled around. But the sun was eating through the haze the next morning when I walked into Candono's place. A sad old biddy with a mop told me Candono was in his office, so I knocked on the door.
Yeah?
Hello, Candono. I'm the guy your boys pistol whipped.
Novak? Come on in. I wouldn't worry. Maybe you'll heal handsome.
Thanks.
I'm sorry about that, Novak.
I'll bet you are.
Well, that's the way you'll get it. It won't come engraved. If I say I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're full of tears. You going to shed one when they send me up on a bum murder rap?
No, I'll buy you a handkerchief, though.
If you got the time, you might tell me what Doreen Wilde was doing in here last night.
What do you care? Maybe we're in love.
And maybe you're putting the screws on old man Wilde.
Hello? Yeah. Did you tell anybody you were coming here?
No, just a birdie.
It's for you.
Yeah. Hello, Jocko. When? Well, from where I'm sitting, it doesn't make sense. Oh, of course not. Yeah, I'll let you know. Well, how you feeling, Candono?
Get to the point, Novak.
They found a dead guy out in the marina this morning. He was shot and banged up badly, but they identified him.
What's that to me?
Nothing, except they identified him as Joe Candono. Confused?
No. It was a guy named Eddie Darrow.
Friend of yours?
Yeah, I guess he was.
What does that prove?
It proves lots, Novak. It proves unless you find her in a cemetery, never trust a woman.
Well, with a good assist from Deep Short, we could make it now. I knew that. Candono was mad about something, and the lid was going to blow. I called Hellman. His lid was gone 10 minutes ago. He had the murder gun, and it belonged to old man Wilde. A messenger walked in and put it on the sergeant's desk a few hours ago with no explanation. Oh, that was the clincher. From here on in, it was cakes and ale. I told Hellman what I knew. He picked me up at Geary and Taylor, and we headed for the Wilde apartment. The girl and the old man were in the living room when we walked in.
Everybody had breakfast?
Patsy, I didn't know you came out till after dark.
Well, we just wanted to call on your old man. Wilde, this is Inspector Hellman.
Is there anything I can do?
You're ambitious, Wilde. Hellman's here to arrest you for murder.
I'm amused, but not frightened.
They might have gone easy on you for killing your son, but not Eddie Darrow.
And who is Eddie Darrow?
The guy you thought was Candono when you killed him last night. Your daughter was helping him put on that squeeze.
She even sent in your gun this morning.
Please, Doreen, tell these men.
Well, we're starting backfield. Hello, Candono.
Step aside, Novak.
You don't need that gun, Joe.
Not for long. All right. Push the girl out there. Push the girl out there.
For a gambler, these are bad odds, Joe.
Just keep talking loud, and when you stop, all of a sudden, you'll know I'm through it.
You made the first switch, Joe.
I didn't trust you, so I sent Eddie Darrow up. He was a good guy, and I liked him.
I didn't kill him, Joe.
You made it easy, though.
Say 'em fast, baby. Here it comes.
Look out, Tony!
Watch the old man.
Give me that gun.
Yeah. They keep shooting the wrong people around here.
I'm sorry, Hellman. I bungled, huh?
Yeah, you bungled, Joe. How's the old guy, Novak?
You should live so long, Hellman. He's dead.
You're gonna need me soon, huh, Hellman?
Yeah, right now. Come on, Joe. Tag by headquarters, Novak.
Sure.
Well, it was fun while it lasted.
Yeah.
I'm sorry he jumped in front of me. He didn't have to do it.
No, but you expected it.
I suppose. I'm made to expect things, Patsy.
Uh-huh. And you're not going to mind this.
I expected that, too. You can slap me, but don't leave me, Patsy. I don't want to be alone. You got a cigarette?
They're on the table.
I see. A match, Patsy?
You go build your own fire. I'm leaving.
Please, Patsy, I don't want to be alone.
You won't. I'll send you a whistle. Goodbye. A sweet double cross right from the start. Frank pitched the first curve. He stole the pictures from Candono's office the day of the payoff. He was going to wait for the dough from his sister and skip. In the meantime, the old man found out about it, killed the son, and left him in the hotel after Candono's boys had cleared out. Oh, it would have worked out all right, but Doreen found the pictures in the old man's room and guessed what happened. She gave him back to Candono and then made a deal with him to put a squeeze on the old man. And then she double-crossed Candono by tipping off the old man that Candono was on his way up. I guess he figured the girl for a fast play and sent a pal instead. The old man didn't know the difference. He really thought he killed Candono. And then the girl wrapped it up by sending his gun to headquarters. Well, things had gone right. She'd have been right in the middle of that gravy boat. Her brother and Candono would be dead. Her father would be up on a murder rap. Once it started to unravel, it moved real fast. The first tip-off I got was when she offered the dough for her brother's killer. She'd have all that dough, and on the books she'd look like a field of Vermont snow. She was feeling around between somebody's shoulder blades, and from then on, all the cards fell just right. Candono was probably right. If they're not in the cemetery, watch out. Well, Hellman had only one question. Why would a guy want to kill off a dame like that? After I saw the pictures, I wondered myself.
The Armed Forces Radio Service has just brought you Pat Novak for Hire, starring Jack Webb. Pat Novak is produced by William P. Russo. Jocko Madigan is played by Tudor Owen. Inspector Hellman is played by Raymond Burr. Music was composed and conducted by Basil Adlam. Be with us again next week when over most of these same stations we'll bring you Pat Novak for Hire.
Here's another in NBC's great parade of new shows.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
NBC brings you Dragnet. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to Homicide Bureau. A police officer has been shot, mortally wounded. One of the suspects has been apprehended. The other is still at large. Your job, find him.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime, investigated and solved by the men who unrelentingly stand watch on the security of your home, your family, and your life. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Thursday, November 16th. It was foggy in Los Angeles. We were working a day watch out of homicide. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Ed Backstrand, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. It was 11:58 a.m. when we got to the Georgia Street Receiving Hospital, second floor, room 5. Treatment room.
You made good time.
How famous, Doc?
Got in the lungs, Ben, 3 times. It's going fast.
His wife with him?
They're bringing him down now.
Can we talk to him?
Make it fast.
Come on, Joe.
This way. Easy. John, it's Friday and Romero. I want to talk to you a minute.
Oh, Doc, it burns. My chest. Burning up.
Nurse?
Yes, Doctor?
The hypodermic.
Yes, Doctor.
Easy. All right, fellas. Don't take too long.
John, it's Joe Friday. Can you tell us how it happened?
Joe.
How'd it happen, boy? Can you tell me?
Can't figure it, Joe. Why'd he do it?
We gotta find out. Now, how'd it happen?
I don't know. I was directing traffic. East Broadway and First Street. Gray coupe. Pulled up for the stop. Gray coupe.
How many men in the car? How many, John?
2. Gray coupe. Pulled up for the stop. In the pedestrian lane. Went over. Gonna ask him to back up. Back up out of lane. Just gonna ask him.
Yeah, John, and then what?
Driver. Dark hair. Eyes. Dark. Went over. Gonna ask him to back up. Pointed a gun. No reason. Pointed a gun at me.
All right, easy, John. Take it easy.
No reason, Joe. No reason he fired.
Hurry up, Joe.
Yeah.
No.
What about the other man in the car? Did you see him? Can you describe him?
Joe, did you get him? Gray coupe. Driver. Guy with him.
We've got the driver, John. He's upstairs. The other one got away. We gotta find him. You gotta help us.
My wife. Somebody send for Dora.
She's on her way. She'll be here in a minute. Now, can you tell us, the other man in the car, what did he look like?
Gray coupe.
What did he look like?
Don't press him, Joe.
Gray coupe. The driver. Pointed a gun. Dark hair.
Yeah, I know. The other man, John. We got the driver. What did the other man look like?
Send for Dora.
Come on, Ben. Thanks, Doc.
Okay, Joe.
Going fast.
Yeah.
John got any kids?
2.
Always pick up family, man.
This thing's got a phony ring to it, Ben. You don't just pull a gun and shoot a man.
Not if you're sane, you don't. Here's the stairs.
The guy we got is as sane as they come.
And how do we explain it?
All I know is that hood shot John Bemis, and I want to know why.
Might be a lead in that car he was driving.
Maybe. Come on, here we are.
Phone message for you, Friday. Came in a few moments ago.
Thanks, Davis. From R&I.
I got a make?
Take a look.
No make or warrants on James Vickers. Great.
Let's talk to him. Come on.
Minor wound, Joe. Bullet penetrated the fleshy part of his hand. Didn't touch the bone.
Thought this guy had an arm wound, too.
Just a neck, man.
That officer you shot, Vickers, he's dying.
Is he?
He's a family guy. Got a wife, 2 kids.
Has he? Why did you shoot him, Vickers?
Ask him. We did.
And you know the reason.
Said there wasn't any reason.
That's right.
Look, we're going to make you on this, Vickers. You know that, don't you?
I don't know anything.
Why'd you shoot him?
Shut up.
Why'd you shoot him?
Joe.
Yeah. Davis?
Yeah?
Stay with him.
Fine.
Doc, get us an MT slip on this guy, will you? We'll be back in a minute. Come on, man.
All right, Joe. I'll have it ready.
Too big punk.
Easy, Joe.
Oh, easy nothing. I've seen too many good cops like Bemis cut down by punks like that Vickers.
Getting mad won't help.
Come on, down the stairs.
Like to see Bemis? Why?
Just for the record. I want to see if the doc thinks it's okay for us to bring Vickers down. I'd like to have Bemis definitely identify him as the guy who shot him.
We've got 3 good witnesses.
An identification for Bemis will clinch it. I want to see Vickers get everything he's earned when he goes to court.
Here we are.
Yeah.
You went fast, Joe.
Yeah. That his wife?
Yeah.
Did she make it in time?
No?
Did he say anything that'd help?
Yeah, it might. He said a prayer.
City Hall.
2625.
2625.
Auto records, Crowley.
Joe Friday, Vince. What about a make on that car used in the Bemis shooting this morning?
Yeah, Joe, been trying to get a hold of you. Where are you now?
Georgia Street, second floor. What about the make?
Car was reported stolen yesterday afternoon. Registered to Harold Simpers, 716 Everett Street. Report said the car was taken from a parking lot at Grant and Wabash.
Okay, Vince, thanks.
What about the guns they found in the car?
Lee Jones still has them over at the crime lab. He's running them through.
No word yet?
No.
You make out the impound report on the car, Joe?
Yeah, recovery report, too. They're still dusting for prints.
MT slip ready, Doc? Yeah, right here, Ben. Medical card, history, MT slip.
You ready, Vickers?
Yeah.
All right, put out your wrist. Put the cuffs on him, Ben. Watch his hands.
You saving me for the highlights?
All right, let's go.
I'm not going to jail.
You're in jail now.
Looks like a hospital.
Bars on the windows, aren't they?
All right, come on.
Give me a smoke.
Here.
Okay. Light. What do I get if I open up?
No deal.
Might talk, make it attractive.
Who was the other guy in the car?
Hitchhiker. I always give rides.
And why'd he run when we chased you?
Maybe he was scared.
You're part of a gang.
Maybe.
Who was the other guy?
What's it worth?
Oh, come on, Vickers. You're wasting our time.
Where are we going? All right. My hand hurts. I want to call my own doctor. You hear me? That cop pulled his gun first. I can prove it.
Yeah, down the stairs.
Easy, huh? Where are we going? I said, where are we going? All right, what's it worth if I talk? I can tell you all about it. Let's make a deal.
You'll tell us anyhow.
Think so?
All right, you, out the door.
Wait a minute, huh? Cigarettes out.
All right, Ben, light it.
Yeah.
Nice of you guys. Thanks.
Get up, Ben. Vickers, stop!
He's crossing the street.
Fire over his head. Watch the crowd. Vickers!
Joe, he's running for that car.
All right, let's hold it, Vickers. All right, stop it, Ben.
He's stopped. Come on, Joe.
All right, come on, get back, please. Let us through here. Let us through.
Shall I call a doctor, Joe?
No, he wouldn't be interested. The guy's dead. James Vickers, murder suspect, address unknown, died almost instantly at 1:13 p.m., November 16th, while attempting to escape. His body was taken to the county morgue where it was posted. All the personal effects found on the body were listed by the coroner, and a receipt for them given to our office. At 8:35 the next morning, Ben and I met with Chief Detective Ed Backstrand.
Those 4 guns they found in the car Vickers was driving. They're all U.S. Army property. Where were they stolen from, Skipper? I don't know. Each one of the guns is stamped U.S. Army, that's all.
Well, that makes it easy.
The coroner find anything on the body?
Nothing to tell us why Vickers decided to kill a traffic cop.
What did Bemis say before he died?
He was on traffic duty yesterday morning down at East Broadway and First. At 10:35, a gray coupe pulled up for a stop sign. Vickers was driving. Bemis started over to tell him to back up out of the pedestrian zone. Vickers pulled a gun and shot him.
How'd they catch Vickers?
Chased him 3 miles before he piled into a lumber truck. The guy with him got away.
Fine.
Checked R&I. No make or warrants on Vickers. Kickback's not in on his fingerprint.
All right. What's your guess, Fatty?
I don't have one, Ed.
Vickers could have been hopped up.
Doc Stanley over at Georgia Street said no. He checked him.
Wait a minute. Backstrand. Yeah, hold on. For you, Friday.
Okay, thanks. Friday talking. Yeah. Yeah, good. Be right over, Lee. We're in business, Ed. Crime Lab just found Vickers' address.
There it is, Joe.
Thanks, Lee. Let's see, huh? Silver Dollar Hotel. Received a Mr. James Vickers, $6.50, room 345.
Where'd you find it, Lee? Under the front seat, in with the tools.
Anything else?
Not a thing.
How about prints?
2. Kind of smudged. Hope we can run a make with them. No prints on those 4 guns, Lee? Smeared. Not enough to classify.
Yeah, this is it, Ben.
That's all we got.
Come on, let's see if we can make it pay off. We located the Silver Dollar Hotel on East Grand between 16th Street and Pico. It was an old-type frame building with a brightly colored neon sign jutting out over the sidewalk just above the dark entrance. The manager's name was Luther Gage. We showed him a picture of James Vickers. He definitely identified him as one of his former tenants. He told us that Vickers had stayed at the hotel 1 week in room 345 and that he had checked out 2 days ago.
Was Vickers staying here alone, Mr. Gay?
Yes, alone. Quiet man.
Did he have any visitors?
Maybe. Wouldn't know. Paid his bills. Spent most of his time away from the hotel. Good tenant.
Did Vickers have any friends here in the hotel?
Maybe. Fell in the room next to Mr. Vickers. He still lives here. 2 of them used to be kind of thick.
Can we look at that room Vickers stayed in, Mr. Gage?
Let's see. Yes, it's still vacant. All right. This way.
This man Vickers was friendly with. What's his name, Gage?
Knight. Raymond Knight. Room 343.
Is he in his room now?
No. Went out about 8 this morning. Here's the elevator.
How well would you say Knight and Vickers knew each other?
Couldn't say. Good tenants, both of them. Pay their bills.
Did they go out together? Seem to know each other well?
Wouldn't know. I don't pry.
Look, this case involves murder, Mr. Gage. We told you that. We'd appreciate your cooperation.
Cooperation don't pay the rent, Sergeant. 3rd floor. This way. Here, 345.
Open it up. Nothing.
Yeah, no, here it is. Looks pretty clean, Joe.
All my rooms are clean.
You didn't mean it that way, Mr. Gage. I wonder if you'd show us Knight's room now. That's next door, isn't it?
I don't know about this. Poking into other people's rooms. Not regular.
Neither's murder. Come on, let's go.
Does Mr. Knight have this room to himself?
Sure ask questions, don't you? No, Knight has a friend staying with him. About 2 weeks now. Not in much.
Is he in now?
Don't think so.
Ben, watch it!
Drop that, you.
Bad shot, Mr. Gage. Look out! Come on, get up. Ben?
He's out cold. Look what you've done to the room.
I thought you said Knight wasn't in.
He isn't. This is his friend.
Great friends. 45 automatic in his hand. 38 snub nose in the bureau, another 45. Look in his bag.
I don't pry. He pays his bills. Good tenant.
Yeah. Can I get outside on this phone?
Yes. All outside calls are 10 cents.
Yeah. Here.
Have to keep the books straight.
Sure you do.
Who's going to pay for the damage?
Ask Mr. Knight's friend here.
Well, say...
Why worry? He pays his bills. Good tenant. I called Ed Backstrand, and he sent out a special detail to stake out the hotel and bring in Raymond Knight if and when he returned. Ben and I drove to the Georgia Street Receiving Hospital where Doc Stanley patched up the cut on Ben's scalp and treated Raymond Knight's friend for simple cuts and bruises. From papers found in his wallet and in the hotel room, he was identified as Frank Gannon, 9896 Wasatch Street, Kansas City, Missouri. When we got to headquarters, we had Gannon taken to the interrogation room where we questioned him briefly. He told us that he was a self-employed watch salesman, and that he was in the city on a business trip. He admitted friendship with Knight, but not with Vickers. We booked him at the county jail for assault with intent to commit murder. The 3 guns found in the hotel room were turned over to the crime lab. We reported back to the office.
Joe, my head's pounding like mad. That Gannon's a mean.
Yeah, it's a nasty crack. I got some aspirin in my desk.
Might help. Yeah.
Hi, boys. Rough day?
I don't get much rougher, Eddie.
Message for you on the desk. I'm going to eat. Starving.
Right, Tracy.
What is it, Joe?
Jones got a make on those prints he lifted off the car.
Let's see. Yeah, something else in there on James Vickers.
Wanted 10-1443, desertion, U.S. Army.
That could account for those stolen Army guns.
Yeah.
What about the make on those prints Lee found?
Let's take a look.
Vance Taylor. Good solid record.
4 burglaries. 2 armed robberies. 2 assaults. Wait a minute. Here's the mama sheet.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Born so-and-so, age 36. Height. Alias John Fields, Harold Grant, Tom Bissell, Joe... Hey.
Yeah, alias Raymond Knight. The other man who rode in the car with James Vickers the morning he shot down Traffic Officer Bemis finally had been identified. Vance Taylor, alias Raymond Knight. Well, that still didn't explain the unprovoked murder. It didn't explain the 4 guns found in the car or the 3 guns found in the hotel room. An assortment of arms like that could mean something big, but we didn't know what. Gannon's sudden willingness to shoot it out in the hotel room meant something, too. We didn't know what. We had Gannon brought back to the interrogation room.
Hi, Gannon. Have a seat.
Everything all right?
I'll bet you're worried.
No, we're not worried, Gannon. You ought to be.
Don't make me laugh.
You're tied in with Raymond Knight. That's enough for us.
You send me up for it.
We're going to try.
Big talk.
How long did you know Vickers?
I didn't.
Funny. His prints are all over one of those guns we found in your room.
I'm not worrying.
Then you better start, Gannon. Vickers and Knight killed a man. If you run with him, your hands are dirty, too.
I room with Knight, that's all.
Knight didn't come back to the hotel. Where is he?
We're not that close.
You share your guns and your friends. That's close enough for us.
I don't know Vickers.
You mean you didn't know him?
I said I don't know him.
We got Vickers, Gannon. He's dead.
Good story.
Okay. Come on, Gannon. Let's get on the more.
Down this way, Joe. Cold today, isn't it?
Yeah, it's damp.
Bad sinus weather.
What is all this?
Never seen a corpse before?
No, I'm not in this. Take me back. I don't want to look.
You can close your eye.
Take me back. I don't want to look.
Here we are, fellas. Slam 45.
This way, Gannon.
I get sick. I don't want to look.
Throw back the sheet, Fred. Take a good look, Gannon.
No, he's Knight's friend. I'm not in it.
Who is in it?
I don't know. Take me out. I'm sick.
All right, Fred. Thanks.
Okay, buddy.
Interrogation room Friday.
Joe, on stakeout at the Silver Dollar Hotel. No sign of Raymond Knight. Keep you posted.
Okay, Dave. Thanks.
How long does this go on? I can call a lawyer, you know.
And you better call one right away, Gannon. They just picked up Knight at the hotel. He's incriminated you.
You're a liar.
Sure. Like we were about Vickers.
We'll prove it to you, Gannon. The officers are on their way in now. They're going to put Knight in the next room. You can listen to them.
Look, I came here to sell watches. I ain't in this.
Gannon, you and Vickers and Knight were planning a job, a big one. We know that. If you want to wait till you get on the witness stand to tell your story, it's all right with us.
Well, didn't take too long to break this one. Smoke some?
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah? Smoke?
What are you going to do?
Nothing. Just kill a little time. They bring in Knight.
You haven't got Knight.
I haven't unwrapped him yet, Joe. You want to check me out?
Okay, open him up. Give him a good shuffle, huh? You're going to have some time on your hands, Gannon. Want to learn a new card game?
No.
Suit yourself. It's a good game for 2. Better with 3.
Showing a lot of cards.
Yeah. You got 2 decks there. Well, first off, this game is quite a bit like gin rummy.
Yeah?
There are 8 of every suit. 4 jokers. Jokers count 50 points.
Mm-hmm.
Red 3s count 100 points each. If you get a black 3, you can freeze the deck.
Oh, I see.
I shouldn't say deck. In this game, they call it the pack.
The pack? What's a pack?
Well, that's the discard pile, same as in gin.
You get a red 3, you can freeze it.
No, it's a black 3.
Well, what happens when you freeze it?
Nobody can pick it up.
Oh, I see.
All right. Let's deal out a dummy hand here. Fine game, Gannon. Sure you won't change your mind?
You don't want to play, Joe.
All right, now in 2-handed, you deal out 15 cards, see?
How many can play?
As many as 6, I think. I've only played up to 4.
You play partners with 4?
Yeah, that's right. Okay, count your cards. I think that's 15.
13, 14, 15. Right, now what do I do?
Well, I guess you better lay your hand open. That'll be the easiest way to show you.
Okay.
I'll spread them all out over there. Well, you don't have a great hand there. You got a couple of black 3s. You can use those.
Yeah, that's fine. They count 100 apiece.
No. Those are red 3s. Black 3s don't count anything.
Oh, red 3.
That's right. Do you remember what black 3s are for?
You can use them to freeze the pile.
Pack. That's right.
The pack. Well, you know what I mean.
All right, now, look. You see, I got a joker here. Jokers are wild. Do you remember how much they count?
They're wild. 100 points.
No, red 3s are worth 100. Jokers count 50.
You don't explain it very good. I don't understand.
Well, how simple can it be? Gannon's not even playing. You get it, don't you, Gannon?
Okay, red 3s count 100. Jokers count 50. Black 3s, you can freeze the pack.
Yeah, good. Now, hold on to that, will you? Now, black 3s freeze the pack, but that's not the only card that can do it.
No?
No. Deuces can do the same thing. But you see, the only difference is if you use a deuce, which is also wild, you have to have a natural pair in order to pick up the pack. Now, with a black 3, it's only good until...
I knew it wouldn't work. It was sour right from the start. Vickers killed the cop.
Ben,
I'm not in it.
stenographer.
I'm
Right,
copping
Joe.
out. I'm taking no raps.
Johnny, the stenographer?
Right, Ben.
All right, Gannon.
Too late. You haven't got time. 20 after 1, they're going to do it.
Do what?
Payroll. Brazier Company. Messenger leaves at 1:20. He's got the payroll. 30 grand. They're going to get him.
Where does the messenger leave?
1:20. You're too late. I'm not in it.
Where does he leave?
1:20 leaves the bank, I think. No, maybe the company.
Where's the company?
3rd and Spring. They're going to get him.
Where's the bank the messenger goes to?
Up the block, 2nd National, 3rd and Hill.
Where are they going to get the messenger?
By the alley, Clay Street. I'm not in it.
Ben, check it. Get out of communications. Have him put out a call to block up the area. Give him the details.
All right.
Johnny.
Yeah, Joe.
Stay with this guy.
Okay.
Davis. Let's go. Brazier Manufacturing. Olympia.
Good afternoon, Brazier Manufacturing Company.
Give me your payroll division. This is a police department emergency.
What's that, sir?
Your payroll division. It's an emergency.
One moment, sir.
Come on, hurry up.
Payroll, Hopkins.
Mr. Hopkins, this is Sergeant Friday, Police Department. We've had a tip your payroll messenger is going to be held up today. Has he left your building yet?
The messenger?
Yeah.
Oh, my, he left early today. Went out the door about 10 minutes ago.
Thanks. Second National. What's roll country?
Friday, what's all the excitement? You break that guy?
Explain in a minute, Ed. No time.
Good afternoon, 2nd National.
Give me the manager on duty, please. Emergency.
One moment, please.
One moment. Come on.
I'm sorry, sir. The line is busy. Would you care to wait?
Give me the chief teller.
Thank you.
Chief Teller, Waters.
This is Sergeant Friday, Police Department. Emergency call. Has the payroll messenger from the Brazier Company left the bank yet?
Well, I wouldn't know, Sergeant. Just a moment. I'll have your call switched.
Yeah.
Operator.
Beatrice, would you give this call to Miss Chalmers? It's important.
Thank you, Mr. Waters. Miss Chalmers, good afternoon.
Miss Chalmers.
What's the matter, Friday? You sick?
Yeah, I'm sick.
Miss Chalmers, good afternoon.
Miss Chalmers, this is Sergeant Friday, Police Department. Has the payroll messenger from the Brazier Company left the bank yet?
From Brazier's? Why, yes, not more than 2 or 3 minutes ago.
And he had the payroll with him?
Of course.
Thanks. Got a tip on a payroll sticker, baby. Coming?
Yeah, let's go.
Ben, down this way. Coming. Let's hustle it. Down the stairs. Communications at the story?
Got it on the air now.
Where's this Brazier Company?
3rd and Spring, about 5 blocks from here. Come on. Here's the garage. right, come on, hit it. Let's make time.
Get the radio on.
Just warming up.
All units. Attention all units. On 3rd Street, corner of Clay Alley, 211. A bag messenger. Suspects are headed west on Clay Alley. Suspects are armed. Code 3. 11R. Take the call.
Cars are closing in fast. 4th Street up ahead, Ben. Might meet them at this end of Clay Alley.
Hold on. No, looks pretty quiet at this end.
Not much you can do without... Hey, look. Coming out of the alley now. Guy with the police. Brown coat.
Guy with him. Pull up, Ben. Now, let's go.
All right, you two, hold it.
They're running for us.
Come on.
Ben, what's this box? Let's go.
Come on, they're losing it.
I see him up ahead. They're turning onto Hill Street.
Romero, come on.
Will you, Skipper? You see him, Joe? Heading for the subway terminal.
Yeah, they're going into the crowd. Don't lose them. All right, I'll take the ramp to the left.
Ben, go with him. I'll take the one to the right.
You see him, Joe?
No, I lost. Now, wait a minute. There they are, over the turnstile. Come on.
Joe, they're off the platform. They're crossing the track.
Ed's got one of them. Come on, over the turnstile. Come on.
Joe, the other guy. Heading down into the tunnel. He's crazy.
Come on, after him. Hug the side. He's trapped, Ben. There's a train coming through.
You, come back. You're trapped.
Ben, get out. Hug the side.
Get into it, Joe.
You all right, Joe? Yeah. You?
Mm-hmm. You want to check?
No, I don't think it's any use.
Yeah.
Well, let's go.
Wonder why he tried so hard, Joe.
I don't know, Ben. Some people are like that. You can blow the whistle all you want. You never know when to stop.
The story you have just heard is true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
Frank Gannon, the only surviving member of the hold-up gang, was tried and convicted of the crime of assault with intent to commit murder. He is now serving out his sentence at the state penitentiary. You have just heard the 16th in a new series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the office of Acting Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Tonight's program is dedicated to Private Richard H. Taylor of the Washington, D.C. Police Department, who on the evening of December 13th, 1946, gave his life so that yours might be more secure.
Dragnet came to you from Los Angeles.
Phil Harris likes a great deal about the South. We like a great deal about Phil Harris. For instance, we like his beautiful blonde wife, Alice Faye. In fact, we like the Phil Harris-Alice Faye show, and it just happens that it returns to the NBC air tomorrow. Why don't you take our advice and listen to one of the funniest shows around anywhere? That's the Phil Harris-Alice Faye show tomorrow on most of these same NBC stations. Your tune for the stars on NBC. Here's another in NBC's great parade of new shows.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
NBC brings you Dragnet. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide. A mad killer is loose in the city. In every instance, he leaves the murder weapon behind. There are no fingerprints, no clues to the killer's identity. Your job, get him.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime, investigated and solved by the men who unrelentingly stand watch on the security of your home, your family, and your life. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, June 3rd. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of homicide. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Ed Backstrand, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. I was off duty reporting back in on an emergency call. It was 3:57 a.m. when I got to the basement of the city hall. The carpool.
Let's go, Friday.
Sorry to call you back in. Couldn't be helped. All right, Ben.
Okay, Skipper.
What's up, Ed?
Double murder.
When?
I don't know. Found out about it 40 minutes ago.
You got any ideas?
Roughly same M.O.
Was that 6413 Norwich, Skipper?
No, 6430.
What do you mean, the same M.O.?
The same guy. Brickbat killer.
How many does this make?
Counting tonight, 4.
We got anything at all?
Smudged fingerprint we can't even classify.
Sounds like a smart operator.
We gotta get him. If we have to shake down the city from one end to the other.
Big job, Skipper.
Big killer.
At 4:26 a.m., we pulled up in front of 6430 Norwich Drive, a small group of bungalow apartments facing on an oval-shaped garden court. 2 uniformed officers were stationed at the door to the apartment.
Hi, Chief.
Hiya, fellas.
We went inside. Wellberg from Homicide was waiting for us.
This way. In here.
Well, there they are.
Yeah. Mother, daughter.
Joe, on the floor beside the bed.
Yeah, a red brick.
Miss Hafters, we know how you must feel about all this, but would you please try to answer a few more questions for us?
Yes. All right. Poor Margaret.
Miss Hafters, how long had you known Mrs. Diaz and her daughter?
9 years. This November they moved next door. I remember it so well. We got along right from the start.
And as far as you know, the only close friends the mother and daughter had live right here in the apartment court?
Yes. Margaret was a pretty girl, but she was no chaser, no boyfriend. Very close to her mother. The 2 of them very close.
Did they keep any amount of valuables in the apartment? Money, jewelry, things like that?
Oh, no. Mrs. Diaz and Margaret didn't have much, you know. Very modest income. They both worked.
And you can think of no good reason.
Oh, no. Oh, poor Margaret. Poor Mrs. Diaz. Lying in there. Shock. Terrible shock.
Wellberg.
Yes, Sergeant.
Would you show Ms. Hafters back to her apartment?
Sure, Sergeant.
Thank you, Miss Hafters. We appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. Poor Margaret. Poor Mrs. Diaz.
Well, Joe, let's check with Ed. He's back in the bedroom.
You get anything from the neighbors?
The usual, Ed. No jealous boyfriends, ex-husbands, nothing like that.
Boys find any evidence yet, Skipper?
I'm still working on it.
You got any theories?
Well, we know the killings were all done by the same guy.
Mm-hmm.
Cuts the same pattern out of the window screen. Cuts the same pattern with a glass cutter out of the window. Reaches in and flips the locks.
All right, where's that leave us?
And before he gets inside, he makes sure there are only women in the house. That means he probably watches the house for a few days.
Yeah.
Once he gets inside, he wants only one thing, to kill. He's never taken any valuables. As far as we can tell, he's never searched for any. What kind of a man works like that?
I think the guy's kill crazy.
Hey, fellas.
Yes, Donner?
Here's a break. 2 fair prints. 1 thumb, 1 forefinger.
What'd you get, Pete?
Only got 9 points. Not enough to go into court, but enough to make him. We'll know him when we get him.
Yeah.
Found the prints on the lens of the old lady's eyeglasses. Probably knocked him off the night table when he went after her.
And when he was done, he put him back on the table.
Yeah. Had blood on his hands, see?
Yeah.
That's funny, isn't it? Why would he go to the trouble of picking up the woman's glasses after he killed her?
We'll ask him when we find him.
All right, Ben. Joe, I have something for you.
We can use it, Lee.
Hold it just a minute.
Yeah.
Crime Lab, Jones. Yeah. Yeah, all right. I'll tell him. Right, Ed. Backstrand. If you're through checking the victim's clothes by 8 o'clock, you can knock off for sleep until noon.
What if we're not through?
Take it up with the chaplain. Here's what I wanted to show you. Over here. A couple of casts.
Bare footprint.
That's right.
Those from the Diaz place?
Found them outside the dining room window in the flower bed. Take a look.
Mm-hmm. Good cast. Size 9.
10.
Missing toe there, huh?
Left foot, first toe.
That's lucky.
Well, then the guy took his shoes off before he went in that house.
That's the way it looks.
You leave any other prints, Lee?
3 with the shoes on. Here they are. Here.
Yeah. How would you say the guy is built, Lee?
Oh, from the impression, pretty heavy man. There's no full length of stride, or I might give you an idea of his height.
How about the bricks, Lee?
Here they are, all 3 of them. Used this one in the first murder, this one in the second, this one last night.
Leaves them around like calling cards, and there's no way to check them.
You'll never get a fingerprint off a common red brick like this, Ben. Surface is too rough.
Well, we got an idea of his weight. We know that the first toe's missing from his left foot. That's something.
The one we had yesterday. We can check that missing toe in the amputation file, Joe.
Yeah. Well, we better get back. Pete ought to have those prints ready, too. Thanks a lot, Lee.
Okay, fellas. Say, they post the bodies yet?
Yeah, they're doing it now. Same as the first 2.
The brain?
Concussion, hemorrhage. They didn't have a chance.
Hold it a minute. Crime Lab Jones. Sure, just a minute. Either one of you fellas.
I'll get it, Joe.
Okay.
Yeah, Romero. Yeah. Good, we'll be right over. They got a make on those 2 fingerprints.
Okay, Joe. Single print file. Made him on the index finger.
Let me see, Pete. Take a look, Ben.
Yeah. Doesn't look like a killer, does he, Joe? Kind of nice looking.
That's right, Pete. They said the same thing about John Dillinger. The name at the top of the make sheet read, Carlos Richard Monterey, male, Caucasian, age 19, height 5 feet 11 inches, weight 165 pounds, dark brown hair, dark brown eyes. Last known address, 1663 Naples Street, Los Angeles. Previous arrests, 1, auto theft, February 8th, 1936. That was all. Ben and I had been expecting more. The information on the mama sheet for Monterey was 13 years old. So was the picture. So was the description. So was the address. In 13 years, a man can change in 1,000 ways. So can his habits, his appearance, his address. In 13 years, everything can change except 2 things. A man's fingerprints and a physical deformity. Missing toe on left foot. Carlos Richard Monterey.
Here it is, Joe. 1663 Naples.
Yeah, come on.
Somebody's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Yes? What is it?
We're police officers. We'd like to ask you a few questions.
Oh, yes. Would you like to come in?
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes?
Would you mind telling us your name?
Monterey. Isabel Monterey. What is it you want?
You're married?
Yes. My husband is Francisco Monterey. Would you explain why you are here?
We thought you might be able to help us. We're looking for a man named Carlos Monterey.
I don't understand you.
We're looking for a man. We'd like to talk to him. Do you know where he is?
Yes. Carlos is dead 7 years ago. He's dead, my husband told me.
And does your husband know Carlos, or did he know him?
He was his brother.
What about your husband's parents, Miss Monterey? Where are they?
They're both dead. Sometime now.
Have you ever met Carlos?
No, never. I have only heard of him.
What have you heard of him, Miss Monterey?
Do not ask me.
This is important, very important.
Francisco would not like it if I told you.
It's important, Miss Monterey, believe us.
Carlos, he's sick. His mind. For 8 years, Francisco has not seen him, not heard from him. He thinks he's dead.
But he only thinks so, Miss Monterey. No one's told him his brother's dead. He just thinks so.
What else is there to think?
Where's your husband now?
At his work, his store. Rivera Street near Main. Grocery. Monterey Cartwright Grocery.
Here's your change. Thank you, Mrs. Myers. Now, look, officers, you know how it is. You don't like to let these things get out. That's why I trust you.
You can trust us, Mr. Monterey. We just want to check on a few things.
Oh, fine. Always glad to help out if I can.
Well, can you tell us if your brother was ever in a mental institution in his life?
Oh, I know there was nothing wrong. 1923. Got a little bad, so Mom and Dad had to put him away for a while, just till he calmed down. I remember the day. Sometimes. Dumb, stupid kid. What do you know? Standing there by himself in the train, crying. The public nurse, stupid way he cried. What do you do? I cried, too. I was only 10, Sergeant. I saw him go. He was alone.
Later on, Mr. Monterey, your brother was released from the state institution.
Yeah, he was 16. And then he started running around, playing tough, carried a gun, lived by himself. He never came around. He dropped from sight about 1938.
You haven't heard from him since then?
Nothing. Never seen him.
Do you know of anybody who might have seen him?
Ooh, there was a girl he had. Anita something. On Soteo Street. Anita Martin, yeah, that's it. Soteo Street. Maybe she's seen him. Ask her. Maybe she's seen him.
Carlos Monterey? Not in a year. Last March he was in. When I was working at the Peacock, down on South Main. He came in, we talked for a while. That was all.
And you haven't seen Carlos for the past 2 months or so?
I tell you, no.
Has he written to you? Has he phoned you?
Once, 3 weeks ago, he phoned. Here. He left a message with my girlfriend. But he didn't call back again. Now, that's it. That's all I know.
Thank you, Miss Martin. Here's our card. If he does call, well, you'll let us know.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
You liked Carlos, is that it, Anita?
Like him? No, I didn't like him. He was funny. But he was nice. You know, I pitied him.
Why did you pity him, Miss Martin?
Well, he was a good fellow who was strange. He could smile, you know. He had a nice smile, but you could tell he was never laughing. There was something in his mind. Something... Oh, I don't know.
At least a year, closer to 2, I haven't seen Carlos. No letters, not a card, nothing. He was in the East the last time I heard.
When was that?
A year ago, January. I was in here. He sent me a calendar. Sometimes he could get along fine, very well. Other times, terrible. He couldn't keep him down.
How'd he manage to stay out of jail that way, Vicente?
I don't know. Sometimes he should have been in jail 5 times over.
When you say you don't know of anybody who might have a recent picture of Carlos, a snapshot?
No. No one I can think of.
Okay, Vincenti, here's our card. If you do think of somebody, let us know, will you? It'll help.
Sure, glad to. If I hear of anybody. What kind of a day is it outside? Hot?
Hot. By 5 o'clock that afternoon, Ben and I were certain of one thing. Carlos Monterey was in the city of Los Angeles, somewhere. We drove back to the office and told Ed Backstrand about our interviews with Monterey's relatives and his friends. Inquiries and requests for further identification and information on him were immediately relayed to the state mental institutions. The 13-year-old picture of Monterey taken from the files was copied and distributed with a note of caution as to the age of the photograph. An APB was sent out. Stakeouts were placed at the home of Monterey's brother, at the brother's store, and at the apartment of Anita Martin. A special detail of 300 men was ordered to join the Dragnet already in operation. The details at the airport and the bus terminals were alerted, as well as the details at the Union Depot and the main post office. By 6 o'clock that night, almost 1,000 men were actively working at the job of tracking down Carlos Monterey. At 6:30 p.m., Ben and I drew a 4-hour relief period. We drove out to Ben's place, and his wife fixed us some dinner. At 10:30 that night, we reported into the office, picked up Ed Backstrand, and we drove out to join the manhunt.
on the corner of South Flower and Loomis on 390W, KMA 367. Unit 12A, code 1. 66A and 864 Wall Street. Send them out about a 507, KMA 367. Unit 42, 5430 East Grand, Apartment 10, 311, KMA 367.
We cruised with the Dragnet operation until 5 o'clock that morning. Ben and I took turns driving. Actually, the tremendous job of scouring 500 square miles of city for one man was only beginning. Unless there was an unexpected break, the search for Carlos Monterrey could wear on for weeks. It did. Night after night, the manhunt went on, and day after day. There was no break. 16 days later, on a Sunday night, I went to bed early. I read a while, and then I turned off the lamp and went to sleep. Hello? Friday talking.
Sorry, Joe. Get in here as fast as you can.
What's the matter?
That girl Monterey knew. The one you talked to?
Yeah?
She left her apartment, went to her girlfriend's.
Yeah?
She's dead.
There it is. Ordinary red brick. Found it by the body.
How long has she been dead, Skipper? Well, she was seen alive about an hour and a half ago.
Got 3 bare footprints. Good length of stride. Found them down in the lot beside the house.
What do they look like?
Same guy. First toe missing from the left foot. The same weight impression. Should be about 5'11". That checks out with what you got, doesn't it?
All right, so it's the same guy.
What about those shoes we found, Lee?
Yeah, they correspond. They were impregnated with foreign matter.
What'd you find?
Particles of lettuce leaf, dry onion skin, traces of red cabbage.
Maybe a vegetable counter.
Maybe.
What about the city wholesale market down on Front Street?
What about any market in Los Angeles?
No, Lee, that wholesale market is big enough to hide anybody. Hundreds of transients work in there. Some of them even sleep there. For a guy like Monterey, it'd be perfect.
That's a fair guess. Check it when it opens.
They open at 2 a.m.
2:30 now. All right, get back to the office and pick up as many extra men as you need. Get down there right away.
Okay, Ed.
Now, you know he's a rough one, so watch it.
On Monday, June 23rd, at 2 minutes past 3 a.m., we pulled up at the city wholesale produce market. With the exception of 54 police officers in plain clothes who mingled with the buyers and sellers, business went along as usual. The market itself covered almost 3 square blocks in the lower part of the downtown area. It was divided off into hundreds of individual stalls by flimsy wooden partitions. To make the search even tougher, the place was crowded. For the first 45 minutes, we had the men circulate at random through the crowd on the chance that one of them might spot Carlos Monterrey from the 13-year-old picture. It didn't happen. After that, we started a systematic canvass. We talked to the customers. We talked to the managers of the different booths. We gave them Monterey's description. We showed them his picture. Nobody recognized him. We checked the employment records one by one. Not a sign.
Sorry, Sergeant. I'd like to help. I've never seen the guy.
Okay, Mr. Snyder, thank you.
We sure pick the sweet jobs, don't we?
Oh, yeah, we could spend a year at this.
Oh, Sergeant Friday.
Yeah, Kamansky. Did you find something?
Guy at the booth over there against the far wall. Thinks he might have hired Monterey a couple of days ago.
Come on, Ben. Where?
Over there, Sergeant.
You showing Monterey's picture?
Yeah, he thinks it might be him. Mr. Fresnetti, this is Sergeant Romero, Sergeant Friday.
Yes, I follow your voice, Sergeant. This fellow Carlos, I hired him to help last Thursday. Big rush for me now, so I hired him.
You sure he's the man?
In the picture? I think so. A little older, maybe. Oh, but I know faces. He's the man. You're looking for him?
You say you hired this man last Thursday?
That's right. It's a big rush for me now in the morning. I hired him Thursday. He worked Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But he don't show up this morning, so I got no use. Too many men to pick from. He don't show up, I let him go.
What kind of work did he do for you?
Same as he did for Schiller down there. Heavy work. Moving the stores, cleaning up.
What kind of produce does Schiller handle, Mr. Fresnetti?
Fancy, very fancy vegetables. Choice. New potatoes, expensive red onions. Schiller sells to the big hotels.
Does Schiller handle brown onions, Mr. Fresnetti?
Oh, only the best. Big dealer at the Schiller. Sells it to the big hotels.
How long has this Carlos been working around the market?
Oh, I don't know. It's just like the rest. First he worked for me, then Largo Massini, then Schiller. Hey, why are you looking so hard for him? He stole something?
He murdered somebody.
Him? Mamma mia, murder. Do you have any idea where Carlos lives?
Me? No. And if he comes back here, tell him to get out. I got nothing to do with this trouble.
No, you'll tell him nothing, Mr. Presidente. Here's our card. If you see Monterey again, call us. Say nothing to him.
Oh, sure. I remember.
Joe, call the chief at the office, will you? Message just came in.
Thanks, Al. Come on, Ben.
Yeah, there's a phone booth. See?
No, I don't. Where?
Straight ahead, a little left.
Oh, yeah. You got a nickel?
Let's see. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there you are.
Thanks. I'll see what Ed wants.
City Hall.
2511.
2511.
Chief of Detectives Office, Hannon.
Hi, Mike. Ed there?
Ed, take it on extension 2, will you? Backstrand talking.
Friday, Ed.
Move fast on this one, Joe.
What's up?
Main post office. Carlos Monterey picked up a letter there less than 5 minutes ago.
Come on, Ben. There's Ed over there with Wellberg.
Yeah. Traffic short jammed up around here.
Hi, Ed.
Friday, Romero. You all set, Wellberg?
All set, Chief. Spring Street to San Pedro. Sunset the first. Got it covered.
Good.
What's the story?
Post office detail tipped us off. 5 minutes after 8, a man answering Carlos Monterey's description picked up a letter at the general delivery window. That was 16 minutes ago.
Who spotted him?
Sam Lane. Got a look at him just as he was leaving the window. Called to him to stop, but Monterey ran. Lane called me, and we threw a net over the area for 6 blocks around.
And Monterey's still somewhere inside this area?
I don't know how he could have gotten out.
What's next?
Well, I'll give him an hour to break for it. After that, we start a house-to-house search of the whole area. Stop all pedestrian and vehicular traffic for identification.
You're going to jam up the depot traffic.
That's cheaper than murder, Romero. Get going.
The first hour we counted off in 5-minute segments. Like Backstrand, we felt close enough to Monterey to touch him. But he still wasn't there. The north and south ends of the blockade started to move in, slowly. Searching every store, every house, every conceivable place where a man might hide out. In the meantime, Ben and I worked the Spring Street side of the blockade, watching the faces of the pedestrians as they came through one by one, examining all vehicles and their drivers. The morning wore on, the sun came out, and it started to get warm. By 11 o'clock that morning, Monterey still had not been found. The temperature was 93 in Los Angeles. It was still climbing. The search went on. At 10 minutes past 2 p.m., Backstrand made the round.
How's it look, Skipper?
Not good. Going slow.
How much longer you figure?
I don't know. It'll go to after dark, that's sure. District down here is like a rat's nest.
Yeah. Nothing?
Nothing. But he's someplace inside this blockade. He's got to be.
Any chance of getting relief for the men in our squad? Some of them been working straight through since yesterday.
I'll see. Check with me around 5 this afternoon.
Thank you, Skipper.
Keep a sharp lookout. One slip. That's all it takes.
The search went on. At 3 o'clock that afternoon, the temperature was 95. We sweltered and we waited. At 3:45, Backstrand sent a squad of men into the Union Depot to search it from top to bottom. There was one false alarm when one of the men thought he saw Monterey slipping out a side door into a taxi. He turned out to be a train conductor. At 25 minutes past 4, Backstrand passed along the order to our detail to start moving in, house by house. It was a tedious job, and it went slow. The men were tired. At 5:30, the relief squad showed up. Ben and I stayed on. After another 2 hours of house-to-house searching, the trap was narrowed down to a 3-square-block area, a single block wide and 3 blocks long. It started to get dark. Backstrand ordered out batteries of floodlights. By 8 p.m., the cordon closed in around the last 2 square blocks.
Lines are all set, Skipper. Ready to move.
Good.
What do you think?
Well, we'll know pretty soon, one way or the other.
Frank, keep that traffic moving.
All right, you two, get going.
See you later, Skipper. Joe, let's take a look in here.
Okay.
Sure is an old building.
Yeah. Where'd Kamansky go?
I don't know. He's here a minute ago. Oh, wait. There's his flashlight. It's on the end of the corridor there. He's signaling.
Yeah, come on. Kamansky?
Yeah. Down below, Sergeant, in the basement. Come on.
Monterey?
He's been there, I think. Here, this way.
Where?
Over here. Now, watch your step. The light's bad. Here he is. Says he's the janitor.
Oh, my head.
He's been slugged.
All right, come on. How'd it happen? Can you tell us?
Yeah, a big man hit me. I came down to empty the baskets. He hit me and ran. Ran over to the new building.
The new building? Is that the one next door?
Yeah, just a few minutes ago.
Nobody's come out of this building for the past half hour. Every door in the place is guarded.
No, not the doors. He went through the tunnel. I saw him. Over there's the tunnel.
I'll take a look, Joe.
Yeah, the tunnel. Connects the two basements. Same company, old building, new building. The tunnel connects the basements.
Joe, come on.
Yeah. Kamansky, get out the back and tell him what's happened.
Right, Sergeant.
And call an ambulance.
Right.
All right, Ben. Through the tunnel.
Watch where you're going. The light's bad.
Yeah, it is. That a door up ahead there?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Let's go.
Good. There's a stairway. Come on. Watch the doors.
Joe, the elevator. They're both on the third floor.
Let's head for the stairs. Ben, come on.
One more floor.
Yeah, right. Come on, hurry.
Yeah.
Look, top of the stairs.
There he goes.
All right, hold it, you.
Stuck in the elevator. Joe, he's going down.
Well, we'll never make it on the stairs.
Joe, look. This other elevator. The control lever's bent.
Let's try it anyway.
Yeah.
All right, kick the control lever. Kick it, Ben.
Good.
All right, Ben, knock the lever back. Come on, quick.
Yeah.
What's the matter?
Joe, it's jammed. We're going fast.
All right, let's kick it. Here. There, that does it. Can you reach the door control?
Wait just a minute. I'll see.
Yeah. Okay. Well, he's still in the building.
Both elevators are here now.
Yeah. Down the hall, Ben. The office on the left, I think.
Yeah. Here we are.
All right, keep clear of the door. All right, Monterey, put on that gun and come on out.
I'll kill you! I'll kill all of you! All of you!
Okay, Joe, let's take it.
Watch it, Ben. He's throwing everything he can get his hands on.
I'll kill you! Come on! Come on! I'll kill you! Get away! Come on, you!
All right, Monterey.
Come on, you.
Hurry up! Everywhere you!
Okay, Ben, take him.
Yep.
Nice looking guy. Clean cut.
Yeah.
Doesn't figure, does it?
What's that?
My wife would say he doesn't look like a killer, does he?
What's a killer supposed to look like?
The story you have just heard is true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
Carlos Monterey was examined by 5 different psychiatrists appointed by the Superior Court and was found to be sane. He was tried and convicted of murder in the first degree. He was executed in the lethal gas chamber at the state penitentiary. You have just heard the 17th in a new series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the office of W.A. Wharton, Acting Chief of Police, Los Angeles Police Department.
Tonight's program is dedicated to motorcycle patrolman John Kramer of the El Paso, Texas Sheriff's Department, who on the afternoon of April 26, 1940, gave his life so that yours might be more secure.
Dragnet came to you from Los Angeles. Your tune for the stars on NBC.